Welcome back, everyone. If you were here from the last stream, and if you're not, welcome in, everyone. Hi, how are ya? Are you doing good? I hope you're doing good. We're back with more Our Life Beginnings in All Ways, and it's DLC time. It's DLC time. We're getting married. We're getting married. I don't care what anyone says. He's the love of my life. Yes, begins up for a relaxed love. Yes, 100%. Oh yeah, we can change his appearance. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at him. He's so cute. I love everything about it. He can keep his little nerdy glasses. I don't care. Sunglasses. Ayy. Well, yeah, give him the shades. Give him the shades. Body. Buff. Slim. Oh. Okay. Tattoos. Oh. Oh. We can't see earrings anyway. Glasses. None. What glasses do they have him in? I don't remember, so he's not wearing glasses. Hair 3, hair 4, hair 1, hair 2, hair 3. I'm loving hair 3. Change the page. Shirt. Okay, he's on shirt 4 right now. Shirt 1, shirt 2, shirt 3, shirt 4, pants 1, pants 2, pants 3, pants 4. He's got a wrist thingy. 3 right wrists, nothing. Necklace. He doesn't have. He usually wore his necklace. Now he doesn't have one. Interesting. I mean, go off. Go off. Done. Okay. Our life tutorial time. Which initiative level would you like Cove to have for step 4? High initiative. We're at that level. We're dating. We already told each other we love each other. I feel like at this point, he can do whatever the hell he wants, honestly. High initiative. And so, your days growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Bird came to an end. Oh. In the years that passed since graduation, you've moved out of your childhood home and made your own way in the world. Ooh, what did I do? You. Oh. I lived alone. I lived with a pet. I lived with pets. I lived with Cove and his fish. Live with Cove, his fish, and the pet you picked. Live with Cove, his fish, and the pet you picked. Let's get a pet. Yeah, I feel like I definitely would have moved in with Cove. I feel like we're just that codependent on each other, which is not healthy. Codependency is not healthy. But I feel like that's what we are. And you worked at a fine company, had a business of your own, co-owned a business with Cove, had multiple ways of earning income. We're still focused on pursuing education. Why do I have to own a business? Go back to school or join a company. You know what? I co-owned a business with Cove. Oh my gosh, should we get a bed and breakfast? Music industry, art industry, fashion industry, writing industry, TV and movie industry, sporting industry, gaming industry, hospitality industry, health, education, STEM, gaming industry. Why not? We're here. Your family members went through the same kinds of leaps to independence. Liz and Lee both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. Aww. But your moms and Cove's father still lived on the same street as they had for all those years before. It was comforting to you that there were some things that remained in the old neighborhood. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, your friends were still your friends. Though, of course, things weren't the exact same for them either. What happened? Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man and switched the spelling of his name to use a Y instead of an I. Interesting. Interesting. No longer lesbian. He also confessed his feelings for Miranda, which she excitedly reciprocated. I knew it. I knew Miranda and Terry would end up together. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bird. Like, sad, not lesbians, but happy that they're together. Derek was as busy as always, but doing well. He always made an effort to keep in touch, and you saw each other in person occasionally. Oh, cool. One person who did disappear into the shuffle of memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation in Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. Aw. Oh well. That's life. That was a loss you felt. He had become someone you'd consider a friend during those days. And then there's what became of the stout little boy you grew up with, Cove Holden. What about Shiloh and Pipsqueak? Jeremy. Your deep affection for him was something that continued to last unabated over the years. But hopefully you would commit to each other even more someday. You didn't want your relationship to change from what it was. The two of you got engaged. She was your fiance. He's my fiance. The past years were certainly busy. You'll never forget the moment the love you had for one another was let out in the open. I don't know if he would have proposed to me if I said that we hadn't moved on in the relationship, but I don't know. It's just how I'm playing, okay? If you want to play how you want to play, go get the game yourself. It's probably on sale right now, probably, because Steam sale. It's a good game. It's a very enjoyable game. I'm enjoying it. Cove and you wore rings to signify your relationship. Cove wore an engagement ring to signify your relationship. You wore an engagement ring to signify your relationship. However you decided against getting rings to signify that part of your relationship, we're both wearing rings. And the ring Cove wore looked like, ooh, what is this? I don't like that one. I'm kind of digging this one. This one's kind of swank. Oh, I can only choose gold. Change color. There we go. Band colors. Silver, platinum. Silver, platinum. Band material. Okay, gold or silver or platinum. They look the same, but we're gonna go with... I don't know. I don't know. The metals are different, but they look the same. If we go with gold, it does stick out more. Do we need to stick out? I like silver. I prefer silver. He truly thrived in his continued efforts of cultivating loving and supportive relationships with his family and friends. His personality had changed, becoming more open than ever before. Oh, cool. Cove was a warm, inviting, considerate man who took the lessons he'd learned over the years to treat the people around him with patience and understanding. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, it made perfect sense to you based on his interests. He went to college to study marine biology. His ultimate goal was finding environmental consultation jobs on the side while also working at your shared business. I mean, if he wants to completely go away from our shared business, I would not be opposed to it because I know how he loves the ocean. And he still volunteered with Orca when his workload allowed it. As an adult, Cove also was able to recognize and have diagnosed that he was on the autism spectrum. Oh, interesting. It was something that hadn't been noticed by his doctors as a child, but he was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. Good for you, Cove. It thrilled you to see how happy and successful he'd grown up to be. On the whole, life continued its steady beat forward, and you all went with it down the paths you chose. It was strange and wonderful. But no matter how old you got, how far you roamed, or how long you were away, the home you had in Sunset Bird still called you back eventually. Ooh, new car. The car rumbled down the highway. I don't know, I'm excited that there's a new car asset, because we didn't have a sunroof in the other car. The car rumbled down the highway. You had started to zone out when a truck in the left lane loudly zoomed past. Your driver didn't remark on it, just like anything else this trip. You went back to staring out the window, letting the scenery pass you by. You did appreciate the spacious backseat of your ride. You hadn't known exactly when you would be coming in, so you had decided to use a ride app rather than your mom's to pick you up. Oh, we're not even... Okay. It's interesting. Not me using someone else's nice-ass car. It has turned out to be a convenient choice. You looked forward to surprising your parents at the door. You smiled at the thought of their faces lighting up. How old am I now? Like 25, 26? Luckily, this hadn't been that big of a trip for you. Am I in my 30s? I want to know my age spectrum. Like, 4 years passed each year, and at the end of the actual game, I was 18. So if I'm saying 4 years, then that means Cove went immediately to college if he graduated with a marine biology degree. I don't know how long that degree takes you to get. Let's ask Siri. How long does it take to get a marine biology degree?
The standard time frame for a traditional bachelor's degree in marine biology is 4 years.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
This is from colevolutionline.com.
Thank you. Okay. So 4 years, so that means he went immediately to college, and that he is 22 now? We're getting married kind of young. But you know, if it's love, it's love. If it's love, it's love. You live close enough that the travel hadn't turned into a big production. However, that did make the occasion mundane. For once, your moms had decided to have a modest celebration dinner for their anniversary. I'm gonna say 6 years have passed. I'm gonna give Cove a little time with that degree. And we are 24. We're 24. Unlike when you were growing up and they preferred not to make a big deal out of it, this year they were comfortable having a party. As time went on, they have found being in the center of attention easier to handle. You were happy to see it. What are we talking about? I was not processing anything. Yeah, I know we're talking about our moms. Yeah, for once, moms have decided to have a mom celebration for their. Oh, that's cute. With this going on, there's no way that either you or Liz would miss your mom's anniversary. Both of you had made plans to come home for a visit. You didn't hear from Liz about her exact schedule, but you hadn't shared yours either. It reminded you of when you were kids and both knew to show up for dinner, but didn't keep each other in the loop for each other's pre-dinner plans. This was the same concept after all. Something stayed the same, and yet it was definitely different from when you would see your sister every day and knew sort of what she was doing anyways from osmosis. Osmosis? That's not how osmosis works. Today you had no idea. Things were always changing. You mused on how you mused at how at times it was hard to believe you didn't live with your parents anymore. And yet you also couldn't imagine going back and living as a kid under their rules. The rest of the drive flew by. What rules? They barely had rules. What about my pets? Where are we keeping those? Where's Jack staying? Your silent drivers provided a smooth ride. No sharp turns or hard stops jostled you out of your own head. Your thoughts turned from introspective to observant. The landscape passing by became more and more familiar. You frequently recognized the landmarks that dotted the area. A grin came to your face as you passed the now entering sign for Sunset Bird. Excitement built within you. You were really here. You were doing this. Your driver turned off on a street and you realized that their map program was taking you the way home that Ma preferred. You usually would have used the other side street to pass by the beach. In no time at all, the car had gone through the whole town and pulled in front of your mom's condo. Condo? Is that what we had? We had a condo. The car slowed to a stop and parked. With the buzz of the highway gone, you realized that you could hear the familiar sound of waves. The air smelled like salt and a rush of childhood memories flooded back. You started to gather your things and humming to yourself once more about how happy your moms would be to see you. After that, you notify everyone else that you'd made it the trip safely. You pulled over your suitcase from the other seat and yanked at your bag from down near your feet. Tap, tap. You startled at the sudden sound of tapping on glass. It caused you to pause. Did you really hear what you thought you did? You weren't entirely sure because you soon heard something else, the window on the opposite side of the car rolling down. It confused you until you put it together that despite the driver's silence, you weren't actually alone in this car. The driver must have pressed the button. Someone had to be there. You turned your head to face the now open window. What? I'm confused. Was he not... Was I ignoring him this whole time? He looks good here though, doesn't he? There he was, leaning his arms across the window, your fiancé Cove Holden. He beamed at you with one of his precious open smiles. Hey, princess. What a surprise this is. I didn't expect to see you in this neighborhood. He was joking, of course. Seeing your expression, he decided to push it further. It's not like I've been waiting for you out here all morning or anything. Why didn't we travel together? I'm confused. Why are we doing this? Cove! I've been the one waiting to see you. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. You survived. You screamed excitedly. You stared, stunned. Cove! At the sound of his name, he burst out laughing and grinned winningly. He then gripped the top of the car door and pushed half of his torso through the opening. Why? Why? Just open the door. That was enough to make the driver break their silence with a sharp "Hey!" Cove did not seem to notice and continued climbing in through the window. He pushed one hand down into the middle seat to prop his dangling body up. Why are you doing this in this person's car? Sir. He used his other hand to caress your cheek as he leaned in as close as he could. I missed you. Sir. Can you get your ass out of this man's face? You scooched across the seats and kissed him on the lips. You leaned over and kissed him on the forehead. You covered his hand with yours. You flicked his nose. You did your best to hug him without knocking him down. You grinned. I'm flicking your nose. You stretched your hand out and gave him a solid, friendly flick to the bridge of his nose. That's what you get. That's what you get. Get out of this man's car like this. He gasped indignantly. But even then, he couldn't cover his smile with his faked affront. I missed you too. I love you. Okay, now get out the window, you crazy person. You're so cute. I really should have expected this. You and your windows. I wasn't even thinking about the windows. I was not even thinking about the windows. I mean, I was, but like, not the windows back home. Okay, get out of the window. But it's so comfortable. His body was shaking from the effort it took to maintain his precarious position. Co's smile turned awkward as his arm started to bend lower, causing his body to slide downwards with it. He turned his head to the driver. I'm always causing trouble in this neighborhood. Why didn't we travel together? Did we travel together? I'm so confused. Cove shifted around some more, squaring back the way he came. After he was successfully pushed off the window and landed on the pavement with a thump, you opened your car door. You threaded your arms through the various straps of your bags and climbed out. Cove took a few long strides along the back of the car and quickly met you on your side. He's so gangly. I don't know how I feel about this. Cove stood in front. Oh, look, he's wearing the ring. I don't know if you can see that down there, but he's wearing the ring. Cove stood in front of you and it struck you that the two of you were back in Sunset Bird, reunited once again on the street. You jumped into his arms, you gave him a friendly punch, you ruffled his hair, you held out your hand for a high five, you held your hand for a fist bump, you waved shyly at him. Jump into his arms. But you put your luggage down first. No, I'm still holding my bags. It was a little difficult to launch yourself at Cove with all your luggage in tow, but you pushed through. Cove let out a little oof as he caught you and a bag swung around to clobber him in the back. Both of you had to maneuver around the assorted cases weighing you down. Cove stared as your baggage once again hit his side. When you were situated, he leaned back on the balls of his heels and fully lifted you off the ground. His goofy grin let you know just how much he was enjoying your enthusiastic embrace. He didn't have a problem holding you up. His especially large height allowed him to lift you well off the ground. Don't do that. I'm afraid of heights. With the one last swing, he let you back down. You really were ecstatic to be around him again, and absolutely thrilled that it was here in this town where you were together. Even if it had only been a short time since you had seen him off, you had still missed Cove greatly. It somehow felt a lot longer. Now, why did we travel separately? That's what I really want to know. Given your different schedules and travel availabilities, it had worked out better for Cove to head out to Sunset Bird first. Okay. Ask and you shall receive. I've gotten my answer. I don't like it. I don't like the answer I received, but I did get it. He only arrived the evening before, however, and secured the hotel room. Oh. Hotel room. Okay. Until now, you'd never had to deal with that inconvenience of being in a tourist-heavy area. It was a fight to get a place to stay close by during the heat of the summer vacation season. Why don't we just stay with our parents? That's... like, Liz isn't home anymore. I'm not home anymore. One of them is a guest room. The other one, I don't know, office. And then Cove's dad literally has an extra bedroom. I think even 2 extra bedrooms. Unless, no. I think Cove's dad stayed out in the living room when Kyra was there. I love how I call Kyra, but I don't call Cove's dad Cliff. Living without him at your place was strange. Cove was basically a part of you at this point. You were glad to feel whole again. Oh! You idly shifted your luggage, then it struck you that you were a short one. You got out in such a hurry it was left behind. You reached back into the car to pull it out. Cove to the side as you made a dash for the door. You shouldered the small bag and felt relief that you would be able to brush your teeth tonight. Got everything this time? You stood up straight, everything truly gathered up, and out of the car, you gave the back seat one last glance and then nodded. Cove shut the door after you had moved out of the way. The two of you stepped off the street to give the driver some room. Cove waved. Sorry again. The driver said nothing and drove off. Wait, no, did I double press? I did. With the road clear, you let your gaze drift across the neighborhood that you had known forever. It was such a small place to spend so many days. You were flooded with memories of going up and down the street during every stage of your life. Being a little kid, following your big sister to the playground, becoming a teen and staying out later, and growing into an adult who left their parents' house behind to be independent. You could feel the summer sun on your skin from all the times you headed out to the beach. You saw the same surroundings that you as a young adult did when leaving home. It was hard to quantify the amount of history you had here, and now you were back. Despite taking in the neighborhood again, you never lost awareness of Cole's presence. From the corner of your eye, seeing him there was a very familiar sight as well. So many of your memories included him. Your mind drifted from the neighborhood itself to the person who used to live there. You couldn't help the feeling of nostalgia. You still remembered his face, his voice, the scar on his arm from days long ago. He had changed so much since you had first met him, yet even with those changes, he was always recognizable. Oh, is his scar gone? He was familiar like the sky was, in the way you knew the sea. Every day they may appear different, but there's still an inextricable part of your life. It was the world, with help from Mr. Holden and his ill-thought $20 bill, that brought you together to begin with, but the two of you had chosen each other. You had never let your interactions fade. You had decided to nurture your relationship into what it was, I guess, and you would continue to keep Cove close until all the rest of your adult years. He was the love of your life, your wonderful fiancé. The day when you would be officially married couldn't come soon enough. Did we pick a date? He was the one you wanted to keep spending year after year with, as you'd done for years before this. It would be impossible to imagine life without him. Cove noticed you staring at him after a while and smiled with his eyebrows raising in curiosity. We can't even see his eyebrows anymore. We don't even know if they're still squiggly. He was very transparent in his question, if there were something you wanted to say. You shook your head and returned him a soft expression. You'd let yourself get carried away in the tide of memories, but now it was time to focus on the present. Ready to go see Mom's? Cove nodded and then I skipped my mom's, but it's my mom's. We're just saying that out of context. Ready to go see some moms? That's so weird. Cove nodded and then pointed at all your luggage bundled around your legs. Can I help with any of that? Yeah, thank you. You can help with all of it. No, it's like carrying in all my groceries. No, oh my gosh. You can help with all of it. I do not want to carry a single thing. Fine, I should have seen that coming. He held out his arms with a smirk and didn't protest as you loaded him up as your luggage carrier. He looked a little silly covered in your bags, but stood proud regardless. The bag situation resolved, the two of you strolled over to the Rigel residence door. You started to pat your pockets instinctively, only to realize that you no longer carried a key to the house. Your eyes scanned the entryway, a little lost, only to spy the doorbell. The thought of having to ring it felt super weird. As you pressed the inconveniently placed button on the sidewall, you remembered that no matter how much this place would always be a home to you, it wasn't where you lived. Being back here was like putting on a uniform after you quit the store where it came from. It had remained the same, but your circumstances had changed. Cove shifted on his feet awkwardly, obviously also thrown about you being stuck out here, keyless. You heard muffled voices and shuffling around from inside. Your heartbeat sped up in anticipation. The door swung open, and there was your mom's smiling face. She immediately brightened at seeing you standing there. Oh, she's old. I don't like that. I don't like that my mom's getting old. Well, well, well. Mom twisted her head back and gave a shout down the hall. Lonnie, guess who's here? There was more distant noises, no doubt Ma getting up from wherever she was to come see. Her high-spirited words rang out clearly. I hope it's one of my children. Mom snickered, still holding the door only half open to hide you for a little longer. Cove flushed as if suddenly realizing that he was going to be present for your mom's enthusiastic welcoming of you. You smiled to reassure him that he wasn't intruding. Ma finally reached the door and peered over Mom's shoulder. Oh, she cut her hair. I see she still got her nose ring. She's looking good. Lonnie, what is her name? Like her real name? Was it Nalani or is it Leilani? Mom, you're looking good. It is. Hello, princess. She gave you a once-over, patting the top of your shoulders and moving down the sides of your arms, before she nodded in satisfaction that you were in one piece.
How sweet.
This is a wonderful surprise. Mom inclined her head to Cove next, not leaving him out either. Hello, sweetie. You count as one of my kids at this point anyways. I have double the surprise today. Oh, yeah. You stared at your mom's greeting. They never changed. Cove bashfully waved at them. He hadn't relaxed fully, but he had settled down at their welcome. Well, don't just stand out there. Come on in. Your mom moved aside and held the door open for you, gesturing for you to enter. You stepped into the living room. It was comfortable and cool. What are these? Are these like giant screws? Are these wooden screws? They can't be like Danishes. They look too dry to be Danishes. I mean, would you consider a Danish dry? No. I mean, I wouldn't, but maybe a lot of people do. Maybe a lot of people do consider Danishes dry. I don't eat Danishes anymore, so. Cove was a half step behind you, his eyes on a new painting your mom's must have added since the last time you were here. Those were mostly the same, but there were more decorations since you had seen the house last. Mom may have gotten the urge for some interior designing again. It struck you how odd it was to be the guest, only observing their choices for the living space here, rather than a full-time occupant. Ma came up in front of you, excitement in her eyes. I'm so glad you're here! You know your mom and I would have been happy to pick you up, but you're self-sufficient and responsible. That's okay. What matters is that you arrived safely. Mom appeared at her side with a nod. Welcome back, kiddos. You appreciated that your parents respected you as an adult, even if Mom still called you kiddo. You figured long ago that you'd always be her kiddo no matter how grown you became. It was part of the whole parent-child deal with her. You hugged your mom, you grinned, you took your mom's hand, you gave them thumbs up. You know what? Well, I'll hug you. We'll do a hug, a nice little hug. You took another step forward and pulled Mom and Ma into a great big hug, squeezing them tight. Their arms wrapped around you in return, and you could feel their love for you in their embrace. Is Liz here yet? That's what I want to know. Is she here yet? I'm happy to be here. I missed you both. It's so great to see you. I wanted to surprise you, I thought, because you're a little break after everything I put you through. I wanted to surprise you. Aw, well, you succeeded. Your timing was lovely. It's always nice when I'm able to come by. Your mom giggled, pleased. I hope you've both been doing well. Is everything set up for your anniversary dinner?
No problem.
We're happy to help if there's something we can do. We've been plenty fine. It's been a little quiet, but that's not a bad thing. Mom placed her arm around Ma's shoulder and gave her a side hug. Don't worry about the party. We're just planning to eat at the Cypress, nothing fancy, which is kind of a funny thing to say about a pretty fancy country club. The biggest issue has just been making sure everyone could make it for the day. Speaking of which, Liz will be arriving tonight. We're planning on picking her up later. Oh, cool. I guess Liz isn't as grown up as Princess. Mom laughed at her own joke, and Ma lightly elbowed her with a barely hidden grin. Shush. Oh, she was voice acting that one. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. As I was saying, we could drop you off wherever you're staying if you don't mind waiting for that. I'm sorry there's no space for you in the house. It's gotten crowded in those old rooms since you and Liz moved out. I don't know where all the stuff keeps coming from. Sure you don't, Pamela. It's okay. Cove already has a hotel room I'm going to be staying in anyway. Cove sent you some pictures of the place where he arrived. Stylish and roomy. It seemed very nice. It was a double room. It was a room with a king-size bed. Ooh, king-size bed. He claimed that the bed was comfortable, so you had high hopes about that. Though you mostly were looking forward to having him next to you as you slept once again. Ooh. Your mom smiled relieved. Kyra's already here, isn't she? She directed her question to Cove. He bobbed his head a bit to go along with his reply. Yeah, I heard she made it. She's gonna be staying with Dad while she's in town. Have you gone over and said hello yet? Cove chuckled self-consciously, and this time he shook his head. He raised an eyebrow, since you had figured he would have taken the chance while waiting for you. I'm hungry. And by hungry, I mean I want something sweet. Do I want cookies or do I want cinnamon rolls? I have Oreo cakes. It's not like this matters right now, but I've gotten a craving, and I want the craving. Do I want something warm though, or do I just want pastry? Not yet. I should go do that now. I just want a princess to be there too. He caught your eyes with an adoring smile. Aww. Mom laughed at that, no doubt thinking that Cove was sweet but ridiculous. It's nice to know your priorities. Yeah. Cove awkwardly rubbed his arm and shifted on his feet, looking all too much like he did as a kid. Princess, do you want to come over to my house now? That's a good idea. We won't be leaving until late evening. Yeah, Ma, let's go see your parents. Cove perked back up, excited once more. We'll keep an eye on your things while you're out. There's no reason to be carrying all that around. You set down your bags in the living room, tucked into a corner where they wouldn't be in the way. Cove helped. Your moms waved the two of you off as you walked back to the entranceway. Thanks. See you soon. You waved back and opened the front door for Cove. With that, you were on your way to see Cove's family next. This trip put a special little pep in Cove's steps as you crossed the street to his dad's house together. Your spirits were equally high. Doing this, you felt like a teen again. Okay. Why? You had known Cove's parents for a long time now. When it came to what you called his dad, you still stuck with the familiar classic Mr. Holden. Me. That's such a me answer. You switched back to saying Cove's dad. You were on your first name basis with Cliff. You've been waiting for the right time to call him dad. You felt that could be now. What if I started calling him dad? I'm gonna do it. I don't feel comfortable enough to call other people's parents dad. I only have one friend. No, I have two friends. One friend, I call her dad Pops, because he really was like a father figure to me growing up. And then my other friend, I call her mother Mommy, but not in a weird way. Like, I say like Mommy and then her last name. I'm not gonna give her last name. I'm not gonna do that. But she's always been there to me. She's been like a second mother. So yeah, I was like, I don't do that, but I have friends that I've had that connection with their parents where I felt comfortable calling them like another parent for me. You know what? Let's call him Dad. For his mom. You were still on first name basis with Kyra. You called her Mom 3 in a non-serious way. You've been waiting for the right time to call her Mom. Call her Mom 3 in a non-serious way. A playful grin was already settling on your face, and you hadn't even gotten there yet. It was always fun to hang out with her. Cove hopped up to the front door and didn't bother knocking. He twisted the doorknob and swung it open. With a grin, Cove gave you a gratified thumbs up. You shook your head in a disapproval, but you both knew that you hypocritically supported his behavior. I was like, how do I say that? I totally forgot how to spell it hypocritically. Your dad is lucky we weren't criminals. He brushed your comment aside and went right into his old home. Cliff was there, standing in his kitchen and babysitting the pan on the stove. Oh, he let his hair down. Okay, I see you, Clifford. His head turned at the sound of footsteps, and he brightened instantly at the sight of you both. Cove matched his enthusiasm instantly. You know, with a name like Clifford, you sound like a posh boy who have parents that love them and care for them deeply, but in the worst way. But that didn't happen. He grew up, like, shittily. And I'm not saying, like, if you have parents that love you, but, like, in the worst way, that you're not gonna grow up shittily. But he was, like, wasn't he poor? He sounds like a rich kid, but I feel like he grew up poor because he left when he was 17 because his parents didn't give a shit about him. And Clifford does not fit that bill. That's not a Clifford name. He should have, like, a name like Daniel or something. Clifford sounds too posh. Daniel can go either way. If it was anyone else, you would have thought he was lighting up with a childlike joy over seeing his dad again. But since you knew what Cove was actually like as a kid, you were aware this level of happiness with Cliff was definitely not equivalent to any childhood feelings of his. Dad. Cove. Cliff gracefully pushed what he was cooking to a different burner and flipped off the heat. He rushed over to you both. Cove flew forward and met him halfway in a hug. Cove squished his eyes shut and held his dad in a tight hug. Cliff soothingly rubbed his son's back. The more of an adult Cove became, what an odd way to say this, the more he turned to a big daddy's boy, it seemed. Cute. I missed you. I missed you too. Oh my fucking god. Who? Instagram, leave me alone. I don't even use Instagram. I need to set my phone on Twitch mode. I didn't set my phone on Twitch mode when I was streaming, and now I know that I should have. I definitely should have. It was sweet, and teasing aside, it was wonderful to see them at this place in their relationship after years of struggling to connect. When the hug broke, Cliff hooked an arm around his son's neck. He let out a deep laugh. I still can't believe you outgrew me. I really thought I had that on him after he graduated from high school, but then he had to keep going. See? I told you yesterday, boys don't stop growing till like forever. Chuckling, he shook his fist in mock anger. Cove ducked his head and laughed in kind. Sorry, Dad. Cove's cheeks turned pink and he averted his eyes. He was becoming bashful, so you knew he had more he wanted to say. Cove softly added, but I was raised really well. His dad's expression instantly crumbled with emotion. He sniffled. Oh my gosh. Cove put an arm around him too and tugged him into a side hug. You better not start crying. Both of you. If I see a single tear. You observed their little reunion fondly, happy to let them enjoy their moment. They were a perfect pair of sentimentality. Cliff eventually turned his attention to you. Oh my gosh. Not me just getting the name. Cliff and Cove. What's inside of a cliff? A cove. How many hours have I been playing this game and I just fucking got that? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Hi, Princess. So great to see you. He pulled away from Cove and approached you with a little wave. He was back to his cheery self. Hi, Dad. Dad, it's so nice to see you. I missed you, Dad. Hi, Dad. You waved, you offered him a high five, you gave his arm a pat, you hugged him, you smiled. You know what? I'll give him a hug too. You went to him with your arms extended. He immediately pulled you into a big hug. He smelled like the spices from the kitchen and the sunscreen he used to slather Cove in as a kid. Sighing happily, you momentarily felt at home, but you noticed that his whole body was rigid. He had noticed what you called him. Then a loud gasp escaped Cliff. You glanced over at Cove for his reaction. He grinned sweetly with misted eyes. Boy. Dad? Yeah, Dad, if that's okay. Cliff placed his hands on your shoulders. The sudden weight of them jolted you away from your thoughts. That's absolutely okay. It's more than okay. Overwhelmed with emotion, his voice squeaked at first, but he barely noticed. He was beaming with joy. I would love to be your dad. You're the best that I could ask for. Finally, calling you family is no longer a joke. I mean, we're about to get married, so... He would have become family at that point. Who knew you'd be getting a new kid out of the deal in the end? You teared up. Bashful, you looked away. Who knew you'd be getting a new kid? You winked and let out a laugh with Cliff, while Cliff blushed. He shook his head slightly, losing himself to memories of the very first summer in Sunsetburg. I definitely got more than I bargained for there. In the best ways. Thanks, Dad. Grinning, Cliff reached out and shook Cove's forearm. Cove didn't move, but he did watch him completely baffled. Did you hear that, bud? I'm Dad now. No, this is a cute moment. I'm not gonna lie, this is a very cute moment. Cove snorted, unable to stop himself from teasing his father just a little. You already were, Dad. True, but now I get to instill my dad wisdom in more than just your noggin. Oh my god. I've made a mistake. Giddy, you couldn't be happier with your decision. You knew the two men in front of you were part of your important family. Cliff cleared his throat, pulling attention to himself. He crossed his arms. But before we get too carried away, it's not a real reunion yet. Kyra's still in the guest suite. I'll go get her. The guest suite. So there are more rooms than just the two? He eagerly bolted down the hall. You could hear every step he took. It ended with a distant knock. Kyra, they're here! It was only seconds before there was the sound of a door being yanked open, the pounding of feet hitting the wooden floor even louder this time. I can't. I love her. My baby! Next to you, Cove let out a nervous laugh. His parents entered the living room, and Kyra stretched her arms out wide when she spotted you both. Cove went to her easily. You went in for the hug too. You opened your own arms for a big hug. You raised your arms up to pass. You shook your head no. You know what? Go for a hug too. Why not? Why not? She pulled you tightly into her arms with Cove. You were squished, but felt every bit of love Kyra held in her heart for you both. Cove wrapped his free arm around her too. He rested his head on top of hers and let out a happy sigh. After a moment, Kyra let go and pulled back to get a better look at your faces. She surveyed every inch of them and appeared satisfied. You're both looking well. That's wonderful, and just what I like to see. Thanks, Mom. And hi. Thank you. Thanks, Mom 3. You look great too, Mom 3. Welcome back, Mom 3. I missed you, Mom 3. Welcome back. Kyra's gaze moved around the room, taking in you, Cove, and Cliff. Her smile widened. Jesus Christ. I couldn't be happier to be back here with my favorite people. Your gaze bounced back and forth between Cove's parents and their happy chatter. A wave of relief settled your nerves. They both seemed to respect your choices and how you wanted to address them. You were so happy there weren't any issues. So, what's new? How have you both been? Kyra gave a nod for Cliff to go. Cheerfully, he waved a hand. Oh, same old, same old. Still got the shop, still got my friends and family, of course, and still the most exciting thing around here is seeing who will rent that one free condo. Incredible. Always knew you were such a snorer. They laughed and you couldn't help but peek at Cove. He rolled his eyes dramatically, drawing out a few giggles from you, but the whole time there was still a happy smile fixed on his face. For me, things have been good. I've got a lot of interesting assignments lately. Oh, good. Oh, I recently went to Seattle and... Kyra twirled a strand of her hair shyly, and her mouth curved into a grin. Whatever she was thinking about, it made her happy. Things have been going well with a guy from work, but it's a little early to bring him all the way out to California to meet the family. Oh? Cove crossed his arms. He and his dad nodded. It was clear she appreciated the acceptance from her two boys. That's great. I'm really happy for you. I hope he gets his seal of approval when he does come around. You silently nodded. I'm silently also nodding. There were identical nods across the board. Kyra's grin grew ear to ear before she shook her head in amusement. So, that's us. Do you two have any plans for your first day back? The only thing I have to do is pick up Liz later tonight before we head back to our hotel room. Oh my gosh. I've got a pain.
Great.
I've got a pain. Stop this pain. Great. He suddenly looked over his shoulder, his eyebrows pushed together. I'm glad you're here, but I just remembered that I was in the middle of cooking something. Only a small cackle escaped you while you cackle. Why did I cackle? I don't like that. Why did I cackle? And nothing is small about a cackle. Okay. Escaped you while you fought off the giant grin taking over your face. Cackles are large. I'm sorry, I'm stuck in this cackle thing. Some of the words that they choose to use, I'm not a fan of. Meanwhile, Cove erupted into laughter that had his dad shaking his head. See what Cove is doing? He's cackling. That's fine, Dad. Go salvage what you can. I think it's nice to explore the old neighborhood for a while anyway, since we've got the time. Ooh, let's go to my park. Cove directed the last part to you as you spoke, hoping that you'd want to go with him. You nodded automatically. You were already looking forward to it. That's a perfect idea. I think so too. You should go enjoy the day. I'll hang back here so I won't be a third wheel, and someone's gonna keep an eye on Cliff before he catches the whole kitchen on fire. Mom, you're not a third wheel. Cove stiffly stuck his arm against his side. Oh yeah, see look, his scar is not as large as it used to be. Okay, it's still there. I just couldn't see it through the text border. Cove stiffly stuck his arm against his side like a little child. A small smirk tugged at Kyra's mouth. She winked. You know what I mean. Have a good walk. I'll see you both later. Cheerfully, Cliff waved before going back to his cooking. Cove smiled warmly. Bye, we'll see you soon. Cove trailed behind you as you walked into the welcoming summer sun. He stopped, closing his eyes to stretch his arms in the warm rays. Satisfied, Cove gave you a bent smile and dropped down low to the ground. You knew this was your chance to get a yes, give me a piggyback ride. Cove silently waited for your answer. Excitement bubbled up in your chest. Cove always knew how to make your day even better. You always know just the right thing to do. Cove hummed in agreement while you climbed onto his back. When you both had a secure grip, he stood up. The movement bounced you more than usual. Chuckling into Cove's hair, you were pleased to enjoy another afternoon of your favorite mode of transportation. Under your hand, you could feel the vibrations of laughter in Cove's chest. Let's go. Naturally, you found yourself heading down the road towards the beach. Your spirits rose even higher as you strode across the sand, heading for the shopping district. Arriving, What about my park? Arriving, you wove past tourists who were taking in sights for the very first time. Being a local was a badge of honor you wore proudly. You casually walked past the shops. Over the years, some had closed down, but many of the stalls were still exactly the same as they were when you were little. Is the great Alexander there? What was his name? Amazing Alexander? He's probably dead by now. And maybe he's not. He probably wasn't that old. I mean, if our parents are still alive, I just assume everyone's dead if I haven't seen them in a while. Ko snapped his head as far as it could go to one side, so dramatically you couldn't have missed it. I definitely had the wrong inflections there. I'm so sorry about that. Something clearly caught his eye, but you couldn't see it. There is a pretzel stand open today. Can we get one? Of course. Of course we can get a pretzel. Maybe that's what I want. Cinnamon pretzel? That sounds so good right now. When his gaze found you again, he wore the biggest smile. You chuckled. Yeah, we can. You didn't ask for my permission. Of course you can, but I don't want one though. You nod happily. Yeah, we can. You finally thought about retracting your previous thought. Cove was beaming now. You're gonna get the one that comes with the little frosting cup, aren't you? That's right. I'm doing that too. After that, you both happily made your way over, being pulled in faster by the delicious aroma of the stall. With that, you changed course from the pretzel stand for a snack break. Cove was very pleased by the morsel he picked up, and that was good to see. Okay. The sun arched across the sky as you went up and down the road as a pair. By the time you returned to the beach, day was beginning to fade into night. Cove kicked his shoes off. I want to go to the park. Bring me back to my park. Cove kicked his shoes off, tossing them into the sand. He wanted to get his feet wet in the waves as fast as possible. You have fun, babes. You have fun with that. Content, you watched Cove wade ankle deep. You could already imagine he was wiggling his toes far into the sand. Cove sighed contentedly. You followed his line of sight to the setting sun, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. It really feels like summer now. He wore a grin smile while he turned to you. The light illuminated like a halo behind him, and the sight took your breath away. In fact, it's hard to think of anything that feels more perfectly summer than moments exactly like this. Being here at Sunset Bird with you. I'm sorry if my voice keeps changing. I'm trying to do a deep voice, but sometimes I can't do it. I'm so glad we were able to come visit. I do like our living situation now, over just by the neighbors, but still. Over just being neighbors, but still, okay, yeah. You hummed in agreement. Your heart fluttered the moment you met Cove's eyes. Your mouth flipped into a pleased smile. I'm happy too. Of course, we would have ended up like this again sooner or later. This is a wonderful day. I guess it's not so bad being back in the old neighborhood. You didn't say anything. I guess it's not so bad. With a snort, Cove glanced up, meeting your eyes with a knowing stare. You bit the inside of your cheek to prevent a laugh from escaping. I might have missed it. Cove murmured quietly, losing himself in his thoughts again. Shortly after, you saw his hand shoot down into the sand. I want a cinnamon pretzel. That's what I've been wanting, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm so sad. I want one. He stood straight, back up with a lopsided smile, and got to work brushing the sand off his prize. You knew without a single word, Cole found a new shell for your collection. Oh, how sweet. As you wandered down the beach, Cole followed at your side in comfortable silence. Your shadows stretched across the sand like they were leading the way. The only noise you could hear was the soft footfalls of your feet and the waves gently rocking to the shore. For a moment in time, it felt like there were only the two of you in your own little world. Eventually, the bubble popped when you realized that your phone was going off. It was Ma, hoping that you were going to be back soon. Curious, Cove's eyes lit down to your phone. You let your hand fall back down to your side. You held the phone pressed against the palm of your hand. It's Ma. She wants to know when we'll be there. Cove scratched the back of his neck and shook his head. His mouth twitched like he just had a funny thought. Dang. Parents. Always trying to make us come home before it gets too dark. You laugh. There's no escape from curfew as long as you're in this neighborhood. Parents are such a pain. It sucks that we have to leave already. Don't act like a little kid. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Frowning, you kicked a spray of sand forward. Cove gave you a soft look. We'll come back soon. Promise? I promise. After one last glance, you put your phone away again. Cove gave a small shrug. Ready? Yep. Let's go. Together, you left the beach, feeling the call of home pulling you forward. Both of you ran off towards your mom's house, leaving the waves behind, but welcoming the beginning of summer. Cove and you ran up from the beach, sand flying from your steps. Cove made it to the road first, but you managed to catch up to him by the time you reached the house. It wasn't exactly a race, and yet it also wasn't not a competition. It wasn't not a competition. Wow, okay. The double negative right there. Weird. Both of you were laughing by the time you bumbled through your old front door together. You inhaled deeply and shouted loud enough to be heard anywhere in the house. "We're here!" Your moms were seated in the living room. Their eyes sparkled as they locked on you and your light dusting of sand. "Hello." "Welcome home." Mom leaned forward, eyebrows raised at your jubilant entrance. Ma sighed wistfully. "That brings back memories." Cove chuckled shyly as he scratched the back of his head. "I hope we're not too late." "Nope, you're just in time, but you better start packing it up. Liz will be waiting." Ma nodded as she stood up from her seat. She lightly ran her fingers over her clothes to soothe out the wrinkles. It took you a second to remember where you had put your stuff. You needed to get it all in the car so you could get everything back to your hotel. "Can I help?" Of course you can help." You shrugged and directed him to your bags. With Cove, your moms, and yourself on the job, it only took one trip to the car to get everything. How long are we staying here that I have this many bags, first of all? Cove firmly closed the trunk, and you thanked everyone for assistance. "Of course, kiddo. Come along, my family, let's get in the car." She gave Cove a special look to make it clear that meant him. Cove climbed to the back seat with a decidedly touched expression on his face. You got in on the other side. Are we making Elizabeth sit in the middle, or are they going to make me sit in the middle? Because I'm usually the one that's always sitting in the middle, and I'm not a fan of sitting in the middle if I have to sit in the middle. But I do like sitting in the middle if I don't have to sit in the middle. Like, you know? Like, if you've ever had the middle seat in the car, but, like, there's no one on the sides of you, it's actually very nice. You see a lot of stuff in the middle seat. When everyone was situated and buckled, the engine was started, and Ma pulled out onto the street. You couldn't help but feel amused to be stuck in the back seat with Cove. Your mom's driving you around. It really was like you were little kids again. Cove caught you staring at him and gave you a bent smile. He was probably on the same wavelength as you from the sheer mischief in it. There was some deep. I replaced deep and light. There was some light chatting on the drive. No one brought up anything too deep, and it mostly became swapping jokey stories. The entire trip was marked by a heavy sense of anticipation. Everyone was ecstatic to see Liz and hear what she had been up to. When you neared the airport, Mom pulled out her phone to call Liz. Mom followed the signs to the correct pickup area and asked for you to shout if you saw your sister. "Yeah, Liz, we're at Wing B. There's a blue sign that says North America." "Alright." "Tell her that we're right in front of the building with blue windows. She says she's outside, right by the yellow truck." "I see at least 3 yellow trucks." I think they're doing work at the airport." The back and forth continued, with Ma driving around in the wide circular airport road while Mom attempted coordination between her and Liz's location. "Aha!" You leaned forward, peering out in front of the car. A tall, poised silhouette pulled a pale purple roll-on suitcase behind her. It was definitely Liz. Ooh, what's she wearing now? She waved to the car. Mom parked along the sidewalk next to her, and Mom put her phone away with a cheer. "Mission accomplished, team." Ma excitedly reached over to grasp Mom's raised hand, thrilled that both her kids were back. "That's right." Liz came closer and yanked open the door beside her. She popped her head into the car, her smile ornery despite how tired she appeared. I don't think that's the correct word to use there, but go off. It must have been a long trip for her, yet her expression was the same familiar smirk that you had grown up with. Look at her! I love her. Liz, you look amazing. Hello, children, I'm back. I've missed you, you lad. Liz, welcome back. Rude. Oh, hey, old grandparent who doesn't have any kids. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. Liz! Princess! You smiled at her, you reached over and hugged her, you poked her cheek. You took hold of her hand, you shook your head. Poke her cheek. Her eyes watched your finger with confusion until you poked her. Her jaw dropped at your sheer audacity. Liz leaned back out of your reach and booped your nose before you regained your balance and pulled back. Well, hi to you too, kiddo. Hello, sweetie. It's so nice that you're here. Hi, Elizabeth. He jokingly huffed at her. We're not children. Whatever you say, baby boy. She turned her gaze back to Mom and Ma. You really know how to make someone feel appreciated. Her spirits were high. You could tell she was just as happy to be here as everyone was to see her. She left the door open but ducked out to walk around to the back of the car. She opened the trunk and lifted her luggage in. I'm gonna move your junk, princess. I'll keep it right in front of my bag so you can get it later. Mom's dropping you off first, right? Yes, but that's not junk. It's important. Thank you, Cove. Thank you for sticking up for me and my junk. Liz slammed the trunk closed without responding. Liz swung around to open the door. You noticed that her hair had a few flyaways, no doubt from a long day of traveling. Where's she live now? Where do we live? Like, I know I said outside of Sunset Bird, but like, where exactly? Like, are we far outside of Sunset Bird? She leaned against the frame of the car, giving you and Cove a significant look. I'm not sitting in the middle. I already have 5 hours of a nightmare on the flight. There's no way I'm getting in between the two of you. I mean, really? Who would ever want to be a person pulling Cove holding Princess Rachel apart? Cove puffed indignantly yet again at her classic tease of your relationship. Liz continued along when she didn't notice. I don't care how you decide who's scooching. I figure you can fight it out somehow. Cove glanced over at you and shrugged. He buckled his seatbelt and moved to the middle. Okay, Cove. Thanks, Cove. I guess I'll always have a bossy big sister. I'm sorry you're always in the middle, Cove. Someone just must get their way. Good job. I wasn't moving. I'm not gonna say that. I guess I'll always have a bossy big sister. Always. It's the law. Someone like Liz will never change. Exactly. Why would I need to? With the window open, Liz squished herself into the car and shut the door. When everyone was settled, Ma began to pull out. We're off. Liz crossed her legs, compacting herself slightly. You braced most of her weight on the door behind her. Instead of sitting up straight, it gave her a little more room. Hopefully, we finished the journey. This car is almost as old as we are. And it's still just as good as you are. All the complaining definitely means Liz is back. We're equivalent to this junker. Hey, I love this old car. You suddenly watched what was happening. You know what? I don't want to be part of this conversation. I'm good. You saw a plane arriving out in the distance. You wondered where it had come from and imagined what all its passengers were here for. Mom turned up the radio as Ma emerged onto the highway. The station was familiar, the normal soundtrack for when she had driven you and Liz around town. Liz bounced in her seat, oh my gosh, enjoying the classic tune. The song would be old enough to vote at this point if it was a person. That was hard to believe. With Liz, the conversation livened up despite it getting later and later in the night. She told you all about her weekend and all the travel preparations she made. By the time she'd made it to the actual travel itself, Liz started chuckling. On the plane, Liz had sat next to a couple of girls who had talked a lot about how well they could read people. Liz recounted their conversation with her hilarious detail, as they did apparently tried to guess her occupation after only shaking her hand. Neither of the girls could agree with one another, and Liz had refused to just tell them. However, the drive to your hotel was only so long. Eventually, your group arrived. You yawned and got out of the car when it stopped. Cove clambered out after you. Liz gave a loud sigh of relief at all the extra space she found herself with. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved off your family after you said your goodbyes. After they left, you and Cove went to go find your room. Oh, that's a nice little hotel room, okay. Only one bedside table? Okay. You skinned the keycard to unlock your hotel room. It sounded out a soft beep, and you turned the handle to the door. The door creaked open, and you craned your head in to take a look. The first thing you noticed was the large, king-sized bed in the middle of the room. It was a prim, modern-looking space. It seemed clean and smelled faintly like floral air freshener. Ew. A smile played on Cove's face as he watched you take in the space. The bed's nice, huh? Which one of us is gonna use it? What do you mean, which one of us is gonna use it? You burst out laughing. You glared at him. Are you serious? Here we go again. Me, you can fend for yourself. You stared blankly at him. Are are you serious? I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I want to share. Really. Good. Cove let out a breath in relief that he'd been holding on to. I got a good hotel, didn't I? It's okay. It's passable. I guess we'll manage, honestly. I'd say it's nice. It's the same hotel I would have picked. It makes sense you'd go for this one. Looks like your room at Kyra's place. I'm not gonna tease him. Yeah, I mean, I am gonna tease him, but not about Kyra's place. It's passable. He sighed in a long, suffering way. He was going to put up with so much. He was going to put up with so much during this trip, obviously. I'm hard to please. I'm hard to handle. You and Cove continued to chat as you settled in. You unpacked some of your stuff and checked out all the room's amenities. How many amenities does this room have? There can't be that many amenities. Cove pointed out the mini fridge and started puzzling over what food could be ordered to the room. However, the fact was you both were exhausted. It didn't take too many yawns before you both changed into your pajamas and called it a day. You had to hunt along the wall to locate the light switch. When you finally found it, light switch. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Why light switch? You just don't use the lamps on the tables? That's doing the most. When you finally found it, it flicked off with a sense of triumph. Oh. I was not expecting his shirt to have a titty window. Okay. Slut it up, Cove. Slut it up. You turned your head over to Cove, who stood behind you in his pajamas. He was cozy and comfortable, but the pieces didn't match. He never minded that. We should get some sleep. Cove smiled, a soft expression that was adorable. Okay, let's go to sleep. Despite saying that it was bedtime, Cove took a step forward towards you. He wrapped his arm around your back and you leaned into his embrace. Oh my gosh, are we cuddling? Then he lifted you off off my feet. Wait, were we not in the bed already? What's happening? What is happening? What? Still not putting you down, Cove promptly dropped himself backwards. What is happening? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. What is happening right now? The both of you crashed onto the tight tucked sheets of the hotel bed. He laughed the entire time. Cove bounced on the landing and absorbed most of the impact. You laid on his chest, feeling a little jostled. Okay. You giggled alongside him. You're an absolute madman. You could have warned me that was scary. Let's do it again. You swatted his shoulder for that. That was scary. The following part was alarming to say the least. You did not want a repeat. I'm sorry. I won't do that again. I didn't mean it like, scary, stop. I mean, like, scary, that's terrifying, but I wouldn't mind if it happened again. That's what I meant. You appreciated his sincerity and breathed a sigh of relief that you would not have to worry about future sneak attacks. Aw, I didn't mean to crush his dreams. Apology accepted. His face relaxed, seeing that you were okay. Why'd you do it? My dad used to do that kind of thing to me when I was little. Sort of. I mean, same. Nostalgia was clear in his voice. It was a fond memory and you felt something warm in your chest. I remember you talking about it when you stayed over at my house as a kid. He'd lift you up really high and bring you back down. Yeah, now I have a cool dad. You made a small noise of understanding that turned into a yawn. When Cove yawned in return, you pulled out the sheets until you were actually under the blankets. Good night, Cove. Night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Did we check the bed for bed bugs? Honestly, truthfully, when you go to hotel rooms, you should probably do that. You never know. You can never tell. You stuck your tongue out at him playfully. Sweet dreams. Hey, so do you know why pigeons are called pigeons when they're actually doves? No, that's a great question. Cole flinked at your random tangent. You yawned and continued talking, your sleepy brain happy to info dump. Pigeon actually used to refer to a young cheeping bird. What is a cheeping bird? Not a species like it does now. I would not be info dumping like this. I was asking him if he knew, because I didn't know, and now I'm telling him about birds. I don't even like birds, but like, I would have questions about birds. Cove nodded along as you continued, seeming interested despite the random topic. By the time you finished, he was watching you intently. He didn't go to sleep. He didn't fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep in the middle of talking. Then you kissed his lips, then you kissed his nose, then you kissed his forehead, then you ruffled his hair, then you pinched his cheek, and you shot him a sleepy grin. Kiss his lips! You shifted yourself closer so that you could lean in. You kissed Cove and felt his lips perk into a smile before kissing you back, obviously enjoying his goodnight kiss. Cove wrapped his arms around you and snuggled next to you. He let out a contented breath. You reached out to hold Cove under one arm and then used your other hand to comb through his hair. The two of you relaxed into one another, and you knew neither of you would want to be anywhere else. I can't believe we're really here. You and Liz and everyone else are gonna be here in Sunset Bird again. Who is everyone else? Who else is coming? Besides maybe Lee. I was staring at all the scenery going by while we were driving here, and it honestly felt like we never left. He ran a hand down his face. I mean, in some ways it feels like it's been ages and everything's different. Some of that is definitely because I'm staying at a hotel instead of being in my room at Dad's, but yeah. It's so weird, it feels natural to me. I don't even know how I feel. It's exciting. I just hope things are okay. I don't even know how I feel. Cove nodded. He understood completely. I'm looking. What are you looking at? A yawn forced an interruption to the statement. Cove was undeterred. I'm looking forward to this. He tucked his head into your neck. You felt his lashes flutter close against your skin. Same here. I'll see you tomorrow, princess. Maybe. What if he doesn't? His words were a whisper you barely heard. It might not even have been that exactly. You might have just been guessing. Cove always had a habit of mumbling. It was okay either way, whether you heard it or only thought you heard. The sentiment was true regardless. Cove would see you tomorrow when you opened his eyes and the sunlight returned to your hometown of Sunset Bird. You comfortably drifted off to sleep and eagerly awaited seeing Cove tomorrow as well. Your eyes gently opened to a dim, unfamiliar ceiling. You recalled where you were, a hotel room. Yawning, your muscles felt relaxed and warm enough that sleep threatened to pull you under again. Warning. Cove's voice brought you back to consciousness. The heat made sense now. You knew the comfortable weight against you was your fiancé. His arms had draped around you. His fingers were lightly drawing shapes on your pajamas. You twisted over to his face to face him fully. Morning, did you sleep well? I did. The expression on his face softened with a content sigh. You felt his index finger lightly trace out the shape of a heart. There's nothing but good dreams when you're around. Aw, that's sweet. I suffer from nightmares, so. You squeezed him adorningly in your arms, snuggled against his chest, you played with his hair dozily. Gently, you kissed him. You let a soft breath. You slipped out of the bed to start the day. Snuggle! Pushing into him, you squished your face to his chest. Yes, the titty window. That's exactly where my face is. The air knocked from Cove's lungs came out in a light chuckle. Cove closed his eyes. His hand found the middle of your back again, and he held it there, enjoying the closeness in this moment. Neither of you were making any moves to get up and actually start the day. It was sweet and comfortable to be wrapped up in Cove. Well, what do we have to do today, anyway? We don't have an itinerary. You could indulge just a little while longer. Eventually, enough time flew by that there really weren't any minutes to spare. There were too many people waiting, so you both crawled out of the sheets together. Waiting for what? Is the anniversary today? Sitting up, Cove took a few seconds to stretch. He glanced over at you with an animated expression. I'm really looking forward to your mom's anniversary dinner tonight. Ah, okay. It's gonna be fun. I mean, it's tonight. What are we doing? We don't have anything to do until tonight. I think so too. This whole trip is great, actually. Being here with everybody is like having another chance at being a kid. We can do all the stuff we used to, and all the things we never did but wanted to. Yeah, the world's our oyster, Cove. I do not want to think about being little again. It's good to be back. Closer won't know what hit it. I love this answer. Cove's mouth curved into a bent smile. He tossed the pillow at you, and you caught it. I caught that? That doesn't sound like me at all. You sure I didn't get knocked over by that pillow? Should I be worried about getting thrown out of town, or worse? Worse? Scolded? Oh my gosh, is he Hermione? Laughing, you squeezed the pillow against your chest. You shook your head. I can't stop us now. Well, we better get back to it, huh? We've got a pretty full schedule ahead of us for your mom's big day. You smirked. So much for being a kid. So many responsibilities. I don't think seeing your friends really counts as responsibilities, princess. Fine, you got me there. After that, you and Cove move around each other, busily getting dressed and ready for the day. Light laughter and chatter filled the air the entire time. Bags were packed and phones were sought after. You suddenly tossed Cove his phone. Handed Cove his phone. He hadn't been able to find it. Oh, these sound like good ones. You slap Cove's butt as he stepped past you. That's something I do. I do that. You somehow lost a single sock, but Cove found you. Shook your head at Cove when he ran a hand through his hair instead of brushing it. Slap his butt. Cove let out a small yelp. Not him yelping. You met his eyes with an impish grin and he shook his head. Careful. His shyness melted away as he put himself inches from you. Oh. I'm gonna have to do something to return the favor. Oh my gosh. Do not say this to me. Do not be blasphemous in my presence. Only I get to be flirty. You raised your hands in playful surrender. His mouth lit into a pleased smile. Oh hey, whose car is this? There was nothing else stopping either of you. In minutes, you were hopping into your ride and heading out to the neighborhood. It was another beautiful summer day in Sunset Bird. You couldn't resist rolling the windows down so you could absorb it all in during the drive. Cove sat across the seat from you, at the opposite window. His gaze was locked outside, catching all the old landmarks the vehicle was passing. Your spirits rose even higher the moment you made it home once more. Eager, you hopped out of the car and let yourself inside. Your moms knew you were going to be there that morning. The second you made it past the threshold, an exciting scream nearly scared you out of your shoes. Look at Lee! Oh my god, girl, you cut your hair and you dyed it? You look great. Princess, you're here, and guess what? I'm here too. With your heart rate settled, a broad grin quickly took over your whole face. What an interesting outfit she has on. I'm kind of vibing with it, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what is she holding? That's her purse. Since your cousin moved out on her own, you noticed that she really found her own groove. She was still the same loving person she'd always been on the inside, but she expressed herself in new ways. Lee was strong, kind, and smart. Over the past few years, she graduated college with a degree in history. Oh, that's not where I thought she was going with that degree. Though last you heard, she was pursuing her dreams, working towards getting into the music industry. Ooh, okay, girl. Lee! Hey, it's nice to see you. You look great. Can I get some warning next time you're gonna screech? You smell. Lee! Excited, you shouted as just as loud as she did. Lee hugged you tightly, nearly knocking you off your feet. Lee leaned to the side to glance past you and meet Cove's eyes. The grin on her face widened while she waved. Hi, Cove. Hey, nice to see you, Lee. I got in practically at dawn. It was a whole thing, but at least I made it here alive. Look how tall she is. Okay, Taylor Swift. She got the Taylor Swift hairstyle too. Actually, Ariana Grande has that hairstyle now, but I associate that more with Taylor Swift than I do Ariana. Anyway. Lee exhaled and slumped her shoulders to emphasize how exhausting the ordeal was. Behind her, Liz made her way over. She crossed her arms at the scene. I'm loving this though. Like, you guys are so cute. You guys are so cute. Oh, look at her bracelet. She's got a sun, just a sun wears those sunflowers. Does it matter? What a very interesting bracelet this is. I'm here too, in case you were wondering. I was always wondering if you're there somewhere. What kind of answer? I wasn't, but thanks anyway. I'm not gonna say that. I'm always wondering if you're just there somewhere. Liz's lip twitched before twisting to a smug smile. She brushed a stray hair out of her face. You make it sound like I'm always following you around. I have a life of my own. If you weren't aware, I wasn't. I know, but when I'm home, I'm always keeping an eye out for my big sister. Old habits. Oh, sweet. I miss the days of checking to see if someone else made it to the TV first, too. You laughed. Of course, that's what her mind would go to. Another friendly shout rang out in the living room. It was as cheery as ever was from many times you heard it over the years. Good morning, family. Your parents both came out from the side hall together. Morning. Now that everyone is here, I do have a little something to mention. Ma put her hand lovingly over her wife's. Mom leaned her head into Ma's with matching affection. We're all still having dinner together, but Pam here actually made plans to take me out to brunch to celebrate our anniversary. Just the two of us. Please, she hooked an arm around Ma's waist. Sorry to push you out, but I'm sure this group of mature grown-ups will be able to entertain themselves for an afternoon. We don't need to find a babysitter or anything. Oh, she's gonna kick us off the house? Okay. Yeah, have fun, moms. Don't worry about it. We can survive that easy. Enjoy your brunch. This works out, actually. An afternoon open means there's time to meet up with Terry and Randy. Hopefully they're free today. Your two school friends still lived around the area. They knew you were coming to your mom's party, but when or how you might arrange to see each other wasn't set in stone.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, the way that sentence is phrased just seemed odd to me. Definitely, we should call them. I have some people I'd like to say hi to as well. Who is it? Is it, what's his name? Shiloh? Liz had her cell phone in hand, ready to get her plans straight before she was ever done speaking. Arching an eyebrow, she then directed the next part at Lee. Would you want to come along? We've missed out on a lot of cousin bonding time in the past. I'd love to. It would be an honor to hang out with you, Liz. And whose fault is that? Oh god, no fair. Lee's meant to go with me. Hope we both have fun. You nodded. Yeah, I'll go have fun. Don't worry, fun is my specialty. Chuckling, Liz smirked. We'll try not to have all the fun. Don't get into Don't get into too much trouble. You shook your head and Liz winked. I hate that they both have names that start with L. 3-letter words. She then glanced back at her phone and rapidly typed a new text. Excellent. It's settled. She squeezed her wife's hand. Her gaze took in the whole room, ecstatic to have the house full again. When am I getting married? That's what I want to know. When am I going to get to plan my wedding? Because I'm pretty sure the DLC told me I could plan my own wedding, and that's what I'm most excited for. Today is going to be perfect. I think so too. I truly can be happier with my wife, my children, and our whole beautiful family. It's already a wonderful anniversary. There were awes and sweet comments from the group gathered around at the couple of the hour. Seeing how your moms were, you couldn't help but hope that when you got to be their age, that you could be as proud of your life as them. But Mom's attention then fell on you, and the look on her face twisted mischievously. Why? A shiver shot down your spine. Why? This is a very good time of year for marriage, don't you think so? Actually, the summer is like the most popular season. Oh, hey, Jazz, welcome in. Hope I'm having an awesome day. I hope you're having an awesome day. I hope you're having an awesome day and it's full of love and laughter and living. Hope you're live, laugh, loving. I don't know. Thanks for the lurk, though. But yeah, wedding season is really popular. Like, the beginning, like, May to September is, like, wedding season. And it can get pretty expensive because that's the most popular season for weddings. I, however, want to get married in October. I've had my wedding date set since I was a little kid because I've always wanted to get married. Something about me. This is a very good time of your marriage, don't you think so? With laughs, all eyes eagerly slid over to you, and Cove, shocked at her implication, his cheeks burned red. There was no missing the meaning in Mom's words. She was clear as a bell, and she knew it. Out of the corner of your eye, you caught Cove shyly twisting the ring on his left hand. A wave of affection drifted down your body. Why? Why did it drift down my body? Why did affection drift down my body? That's such a weird sentence. You knew someday would be your wedding. That filled you with joy. His stuttering never quite reached full sentences. It instead turned into silence. Cove's brain was shutting down. Ma had sympathy for him. You started this, Mother. You started this. Fix it. Fix my fiance. You don't have to say anything. It's just a little thing to ponder. At that, Cove's mouth snapped shut. With a stiff nod, he creakily glanced at you. If it was only the two of you here, you got the impression he would have had something to say. For now, a meaningful look was all there was. Right then, let's get back to what we were doing. After that, you enthusiastically began setting up plans to meet up with your friends. They were both able to come see you, having kept their schedules free for this. Even you couldn't wait. Cove was also speedily sending text messages. Since you conveyed the plans to Terry and Randy, you imagined that he was letting his parents know about what he was going to be up to. The group continued to chat and catch up until it was time for your mom's brunch and your big meetup with your friends. Soon enough, everyone was out the door looking forward to their fun-filled afternoons and the dinner later that night. Once outside on the neighborhood street, You looked to Cove. He stood at your side with a bent smile. Terry and Randy were driving to town while you and Cove were traveling on foot to meet them at an easier-to-reach spot. Man, you really are kids in Sunset Bird again. Having to rely on other people who actually have cars to really get anywhere. Now we're stuck walking to wherever is nearby. You laughed, you nodded along in agreement. No, we're reverting back to infancy. We never drive anyway. You shook your head. No. A snort was followed by a true laughter from Cove. Teasingly, you pouted. This isn't funny, Cove. I don't want to be a baby again. I didn't realize you were regressing that seriously. He shrugged and stuck his hand in his pockets. I am baby, though. I am baby. The thought of being little again made you shiver. Actually, the only thing about being little, honestly, for me, is having to go through everything I went through. Like, if I was little forever and I never had to go through what I went through, then I would take it. I'd definitely be like, yeah, make me young. Bring me back. I couldn't go back to that. I like being me currently. I like current you too. Are you saying that you didn't like me before? Was past me bad? That would be me. That would be me. I'm starting problems. I'm starting issues. Let's go. You bounced forward several steps and shot Cove a playful look over your shoulder. With that, the two of you began your trip down the old road. It was a casual stroll into town, and before you knew it, you were at one of the large parking lots in Sunset Bird. It was the one that used to have the little crib stall. Oh, okay. Remembering the delicious smell, you got lost in thought. The store did well enough that it moved into a full-size building a couple years ago now. You'd seen pictures. It was very cute. Oh. The parking lot was now just, well, an empty lot that cars could theoretically park in. Not many took the offer. Cove pulled out his phone, texting with Terry and Randy in a group chat to let them know you'd made it. I wonder what Terry looks like now. Someone must have answered already because Cove gave you a status update while you were still staring at the screen. Randy texted, I can see you. Oh, really? The blare of a car horn cut you off. You and Cove both turned towards the source of the noise. All of the windows rolled down. That's so rude. What voice should I do Terry? I guess I could give Terry the same voice. The voice did change slightly. Hey, buddies. I mean, sorry. He already said that. Your friends had arrived, making a spectacle of it, as expected. Being the only car meant they got to pick up the lot, so they pulled to stop in front of you. The window closed back, and instead of two front doors popped open, Terry and Miranda stepped out onto the pavement. Look at her, girl. I love it. I love everything that's happening here. Hi, Cove. Hi, princess. With a cheery wave, Miranda skipped towards you. Terry, on the other hand, walked speedily over to Cove, squeezing him into a hug. A quiet laugh escaped Cove. Along with the majority of the air in his lungs, he didn't fight the constriction, but instead gave Terry's back a pat with a large grin spreading across his face. Oh. Interesting look. I have a cousin that looks like this. Skinny haircut just like that. When he let Cove go, Terry came right up to you. He held his fist up for you to bump it. You hugged him instead, you fist bumped him, you smacked the fist with a high five to make a turkey. Fist bump. You pressed forward, meeting Terry's knuckles with a light bop. He greeted you with a satisfied grin. It felt nice to have your friend group reunited as adults. Terry was currently a full-time lifeguard down at the busier beach a town over. You were proud of him. He'd helped a lot of people in his line of work. Oh, good for you, Terry. And in recent years, you and Terry were able to form an even closer bond. It was reassuring to have a friend who knew what it was like to go through changing parts of their identity. Me and Terry are we're best buddies. Terry gets it, I get it. You could go to him for understanding. You knew that Terry felt the same about you. I love that. I love that for us. Miranda took Cove's hand and one of yours in her other. Her eyes alight, she gave you both a gentle squeeze. I'm so happy to see you again. Hey, Terry. Hey, Miranda. He answered shortly. It was clear that he was equally glad to see them. This reunion was long awaited. For a while, Miranda had been working hard as an assistant at a school while continuing her own education. Okay, girl, do that. She also kept busy running a small online shop selling crafted knickknacks she made. I love her. I love Miranda. Miranda, if you weren't with Terry and I wasn't with Cove, I would be with you. If you'd have me. Same, it's good to see you too. I missed you. It's been forever. You look so cute. You look so cute. Aw, stop that. The pink in her cheeks deepen at your compliment. I mean it. You knew how full Miranda's plate had been for a while now, but despite the busy schedule, she did take the time to put together a fantastic look. Miranda released her hands. Giggling, she eyed you both carefully. So, how have you been?
It's nice.
What Cove said. Everything's perfect, it's fantastic. I've been doing well, I'm okay. No comment, shrugged. I'm okay. Well, that's okay. Her voice softened, she observed you carefully, and your mouth pressed into a small smile. What about you? I'm super. Terry sidled up next to Miranda and put his arm around her shoulder. Sighing dreamily, Randy chuckled up at her boyfriend. Yeah, things have been unbelievable. He pressed his cheek against Miranda's and she let out a light squeak. The sight for the amused grin on your face. They're so cute! Your friends been a wonderful couple. They knew each other well and cared about each other so much. It was no shock at all when you heard the news that they'd start dating. It wasn't. I was not shocked. I was not surprised. I was ecstatic. I was so cute. The corner of your mouth curled playfully while you took in the warm welcomes all around. At times, it was still kind of funny how your group of 4 friends evolved into 2 couples. Now that you were complaining about it, you thought it was an amazing thing. I think it is an amazing thing. Cove then pulled his phone out and peeked at the screen. He repeated the motion ever so often. Do you have plans, Cove? Do we need to get going? You raised a curious eyebrow at his unusual behavior. Cove was too focused on whatever he was doing to even notice you noticing him, which was even stranger. Is there anything either of you want to do while we're here? Any place you'd want to see? I'd be up for a lot of things, but actually, there is something that I want to do right here. What is that? Oh yeah? What's that? Terry poked at Cove's arm playfully. Miranda met your eye, silently asking if you had any idea what Cove was talking about. You shrugged. I don't know a thing. I just want to see my friends. Huh? Cove, you're already doing that. True, but I could be doing it even more. What does that mean? Cove, what does that mean? You, Terry, and Miranda all turned to Cove with identical incredulous expressions. His stare moved to a point past you 3, and you heard the scrap of sand and gravel underfoot. Someone else stepped into the parking lot. Startled, you jumped at the call, the warm voice shouting over, "Is it Derek?" It's Derek! Whoa, he's fucking buff. Bro. That's crazy. Look at his neck. It's so meaty. Sup, guys, gals, and pals. I have to give him a different... There's 3 men here. I hate this. I don't hate that there's 3 of them here, but the voices. Running a hand through his hair, the person who crossed the lot was unmistakably Derek Suarez. He was beaming the whole way. Was his last name Suarez this whole time? Did I not notice? It's been too long, even though it hasn't been that long, but long enough. Derek! Wow, I'm so glad you're here. Oh man, Hunkle. I'm not gonna say that. You ran over and hugged him, you grabbed onto his arm excitedly, you waved at him. Derek! You screeched his name and waved with both arms to welcome him. Bashful, Derek scratched the back of his head. You're here! Here in the flesh.
I missed you.
Oh my god. His voice is so deep. I don't know if you heard him. He spoke to you gently. You were thrilled just being there, united with him. Derek was a good friend of yours, and he had been for a long time. That's like super deep. Hey. It's so ugly. Not Derek, the voice, the deep voice. He waved over at Terry and Miranda pleasantly. Over the years, they all had met several times in passing, simply through being friends with the same people. Sup, big man? Hi, it's great you could come. Cole put himself next to Derek. Happy, he clapped a hand on his friend's shoulder. Hi, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
Of course, thanks for inviting me. Sheepishly, Cole looked back at you with the others. and the others. That's when it clicked in your mind. It wasn't his parents that he was texting earlier. It was Derek the entire time. Derek's in town for a few months to help my dad and his dad with some work. Yup, I'm working on my own business thing too. But I'm still involved with running the scuba shop when it's called for.
Very nifty.
Thank you for saying that for me, Terry. Humming, Derek elbowed I almost said Grove. I thought it said Grace at first, and then I got Grove, but it was Cove. Oh my gosh. Who is Grove? What if we had a child and we named them Grove? I can't. Cliff, Cove, Grove. The legacy. The legacy. But hey, we don't have to stand around here for my sake. What's the plan? Let's hit the town. Eager to get going, everyone piled into Terry's car. The rest, can we fit in your car? Do you have like an SUV or something? Because I think Derek's a bit too beefy for me to be sitting next to him, in between him like that. The rest of the afternoon was spent visiting spots all over Sunset Bird, laughing and reminiscing the whole way. Once it started to get late, Terry brought you and Cove back to the neighborhood. You didn't have to walk there after all. You didn't get out until promises were made to see each other again before your trip ended. Side by side, you and Cove stood in the street and waved at the car as it drove away. Terry tapped the horn for 2 honks while Miranda stuck her hand out the window to wave back. You caught Derek in the back window, giving you both a wide grin. Sighing as soon as the car turned down another street, they were finally out of sight. Well, that was one party time for another. Ready to go see your moms? Always. Let's keep the celebration going. You shimmied a bit right there in the street for added emphasis, not me dancing in the streets. He looked at you amusedly, rolling his eyes. Come on, let's go. Spirits high, you and Cove crossed the distance to your house. It was almost time for the anniversary dinner. You barely stepped over the threshold of the condo before Mom descended, eagerly welcoming you both. The usual greetings were followed by questions on everyone's well-being, after which the conversation moved on to the exciting chatter about tonight's dinner plans. Cove excused himself to the restroom to freshen up before being on the move again. Oh, okay. What is with you, Cove? You never used to wear clothes like this. Who are you? Who are you? You've changed so much. Look, another titty window, but not like a real titty window. But it kind of is, because there's no buttons. Is there only 3 buttons on this shirt? Or is it 2 buttons? Who was shopping for you? What is with these birds? When he returned, you were shocked to see he had entirely changed outfits. Where did that come from? I packed it with me so I could get dressed before the dinner without having to go back to the hotel. Didn't you? Or maybe you have stuff still here at your mom's place? No, Cove, I didn't do that. But your mom's party, it's at the country club. And that's also where Liz took golf lessons. Not everyone is there in their Sunday best. This isn't like those summer soirees where they were having a real party. We're only going for a regular meal. Oh no, Cove, you look great. You look great, Cove. I think you're dressed very appropriately. You know, titties out for my moms to see. Cove was as befuddled by your explanation as you were with his actions. He threw his arms up, desperate for understanding. How can you not dress nicely for a country club? I don't think the Cypress is as special as you decided it is. You saw Ma, she was in formal clothes, and she's one of the guests of honor. You realize now that whenever you went to the country club as a normal day, it was family time with just you, Liz, and your moms. Each time Cove came, there had been more exciting things going on. What do you mean each time? He only came once. You never would have thought of that before, but his perspective suddenly made a lot more sense. His frown wobbled. Oh, babes, no, you look great. His cheeks became far pinker. He looked down at his own self regrettably as he pulled at the cuffed ends of his shirt. He seemed more like a scolded child than a grown man dressed for the latest charity gala. I thought she was gonna get changed while you and me were... Ma, no way. She need a whole lot more time than that. Well, it's okay. You look very nice. You're such a cutie. I love how much of an idiot you are. No. You look nice, bro. You look good. Let me call my fiance bro. That earned you a sheepish smile, though he still clearly wished his look hadn't garnered any extra attention. Cove's eyes stole a glance at the hall, as if he was calculating if he'd have time for another quick change. Unfortunately for him, it was not meant to be. The time to head out came quicker than you'd expected. Oh! Okay. Cliff and Kyra swung by the condo to make sure everything was in order, and for your second surprise that night, Cliff was also in formal clothes. Cove's face excitedly whipped towards yours at the same time Cliff went to Kyra's. I can't. The two men pointed to one another. See, he knows. I can't. Exactly, sport. Kyra was talking to me like I was crazy. The aforementioned Kyra placed a hand delicately yet dramatically across her eyes. Clifford, our son only knows this because you are the one who raised him. Cliff chuckled, his arm moving to scratch at the back of his neck. Yeah, that's my boy. The ends of Cove's mouths, he has multiple mouths now. The end of Cove's mouth gently bent up. He truly was his father's kid, in more ways than he even realized. They may be the only ones in the group, potentially the only guests at the entire club, all gussied up. But at least they could now take solace in one another. That looked to be good enough for them. All the members of your family headed out at the same time to the Cypress. It was to be a perfect reunion. An impeccably smart host greeted you on arrival, smoothly leading the way to the set of tables reserved for your group. Once you'd all settled in, chosen drinks were poured into delicate glasses. The food would be coming out later, letting you soak up the atmosphere a little longer. Smiling, your parents faced a group of familiar faces, all gathered here together to share the special day with them. Mom reached over and took Ma's hand, clasping it between both of hers. Thanks for being here tonight, gang. Marrying this lady right here is the best thing I've ever done, and there's no one else I'd want to celebrate that with. Yes, we're so lucky. Not only do we have each other, but we've got such a large and loving family through all of you. Around you, you heard people saying, "Aww," and chuckling appreciatively at the comment. Lee had clasped her hands tightly in front of her, her eyes shining. Your eyes met Liz's misty ones, and the affection she had for her mom's carried over to you too. Ooh, what a cute moment. I love this. You returned your attention to the happy couple as they leaned in to kiss, smiling all the while. The table responded with cheers and clapping, shouts of happy anniversary and other congratulations continuing even after they'd broken apart. Mom beamed as she watched Ma giggle dreamily. They're cute. Let's go, lesbians. Then her eyes met yours across the table. I mean, technically, not even technically. Mom's not a lesbian. She's bisexual, but they're married, so let's go, lesbians. Woo! And of course, it won't be too much longer before we're celebrating another marriage. She leaned eagerly? She leaned eagerly over the table towards you and Cove. Your fiance blushed, but he still grinned, probably at the suggestion. Yeah, when is that happening? With how long you've known each other, it's a miracle you've had the willpower to hold off on officially tying the knot already. Liz smirked. You'd known the face since childhood. It meant trouble. Yeah, wait much longer and I'll start taking bets for real on when it'll happen. I missed my chance with the proposal. The group burst into laughter. Cove, who only stopped pounding long enough to take an angry chug of his drink, did not join in. Why is he angry? You left along with the others. Embarrassed, you sunk down in your chair. You placed your hand over Cove's in solidarity. You stuck your tongue out at all of them. This is me. I would place my hand on his, but I'm sticking my tongue out. Silly comments deserved silly response. It did lead to a second round of laughter, but you could live with it. The waitress reappeared, delivering delicious plates of food, and the dinner began in earnest. Both conversation and laughter continued to flow freely as the night went on, with the two families relishing the opportunity to be together once more. Eventually, after your hunger and thirst had been fully satisfied, the plates were cleared and the event began to draw to a close. Cliff and Kyra exchanged goodbyes with your family before heading out together. Cove gave his goodbyes to his parents while hanging back until your moms were ready to head off. You were getting a lift back with your moms. It was already late, so you discussed the possibility of going straight to the hotel rather than going back to the condo, but Cove had asked if they'd mind taking him back to the neighborhood. He wanted to visit it a little longer. Your moms had happily agreed. Liz and Lee were feeling tired, so their mom swung by their hotels during the trip home while you and Cove made the full journey with them. Riding in the back seat of your mom's car with Cove felt more than a little nostalgic. As your eyes drifted over to him, his head resting on the window, it was hard to believe how much time had passed. Mom stretched as she got out of the car, smiling over her shoulder as she headed towards the house. Time to put my feet up. You two joining us? Cove shook his head. No thanks. It's your anniversary. You don't have to entertain me. I'll take a walk. It's never any trouble to have you over, Cove. Let him do as he pleases, Lonnie. But you better not stay out too much later, or there'll be trouble. Ma chuckled as Mom waggled her finger, her expression exaggeratedly severe as she reprised a role that, in truth, she never really played. Neither of your parents have been particularly harsh as you've grown up. Ma joined in the act. Don't go too wild just because there's no school tomorrow. Laughing, they made their way inside, leaving you standing out in the dark street with Cove. You didn't need to ask him why. You already had the answer for this. He wasn't yet ready for the day to end. Without a word, Cove began to stroll down the road. You walked alongside him. You'd known your destination long before you arrived on the dark, utterly deserted beach. There were no lights down here, nothing but the moon and stars for illumination. Are we going to the hill or are we going to my park? I want to go to my park. The only sounds were the gentle waves rolling in and out, and the soft sound of footprints you left in the sand. In other words, it was perfect. Cove stepped out into the waves without a word. He looked up at the sky with a smile, then tucked his head down and began to pull his fancy shirt off. Oh, sir. Please, the titty window was enough. It's feeling very intimate right now. Please put your shirt back on. He tugged it over his head. Oh my gosh, I was going to say his other head. I was like, what? It's because Out was here, and for some reason, my brain just reads too fast for me to catch up. He tugged it over his head and lobbed it backwards, further up the beach and out of the reach of the waves. What are you doing? Didn't know I'd be getting a show. Same. I didn't know I was getting a show. You looked away embarrassed. You followed him to the water. You're not going deeper in the water. No. Cove froze, his arms still raised from when he'd thrown his shirt. Slowly, he came back to life, stiffly pulling his arms back down. Your commentary had made him self-conscious. No, I'm sorry. Laughing, you clapped your hands and delight at his awkwardness. Cove, you know what? It didn't deter him, because look at him. He's stripping. He's stripping again. Cove flipped his dress pants off and tossed them back in roughly the same direction as his shirt. He was down to just his polka dot boxer briefs. Why are you showing me his polka dot boxer briefs? Sometimes you were really struck by the ways in which he was braver than his younger self. This was definitely one of those times. He never ever would have done this when you were both living on this street, but you also know he still wouldn't do it with anyone other than someone he'd spent all those years with. You took your shirt off too so you could go swim. You took your dress so you could go swim. You decided you didn't care if your clothes got wet. You thought it was so wild that Cove was actually swimming. Yeah, I think it's wild. I don't need to get into the water to know that this is wild. I'm okay on the beach. Cove waded into the water until it came up to his chest. You marveled as Cove turned around in the water, his exposed shoulders glistening under the moonlight from where the waves had splashed around him. Cove grinned and waved at you from the sea. You're gonna be in so much trouble with Mom when you get back. They're a singular unit now. They're just Mom. Cole shrugged. He was enjoying too much right now to care.
I guess.
Yeah? Oh well. Think fast. No, you better not. He splashed water at you as soon as the words left his lips, giving you no time to prepare. You managed to turn just enough that your back took the brunt of the onslaught, but you were still wet now. Bite him. You kicked the water back at him from the shore. You ran away. You're a child. You got in the water to seek vengeance. Cole, I didn't want to get wet. But I'm kicking the water back at you. Cove laughed, not realizing what you were up to until the water came shooting in his direction. You managed to get some in his mouth, which you took as a victory. That's what you get. Cove sighed and looked at you mournfully. The sudden shift in his mood alarmed you. But those worries disappeared as soon as he opened his mouth. I'm still not a merman. The world is cruel. I can't. Not you in this mermaid business. You chuckled. After a moment, Cove's mock sadness broke and he joined in. The two of you wound up drifting further down along the shoreline, chatting and enjoying the chance to be back on the beach had provided the backdrop for so much of your childhood. Eventually, a silhouette of structures appeared up ahead. As you drew closer, you realized it was the old playground. Yes, take me there. Cove spotted it too and hurried towards it, dragging himself out of the water and heading into the park. Oh, look at it. So looking beautiful. Wet sand coated his feet and lower legs with every step, clinging thickly enough that it began to resemble a bizarre pair of boots. Oh, new boot goofing over here. As you followed him, you wondered how many visitors this little park got these days. There were officially no children living in the neighborhood now. Cove gazed at his surroundings in wide-eyed awe. He didn't care at all that he was soaking wet and dressed only in his underwear. Crouching, he gently pushed one of the child-sized swing seats, marveling at it all. I can't believe how tiny everything is. Were we seriously small enough to use these? He shook his head, unable to fathom just how little you'd both been when you first met, then walked over to the monkey bars. Once they had been a challenge for you, now they were a little more than waist height next to Cove. Okay. Cove turned his back to the bars and hopped onto them with ease, sitting on them comfortably. I don't know how you can. Your booty cheeks don't hurt? You sat on the bars with them, you leaned against the bars, you stood in front of them. I leaned against the bars. It was strange seeing adult Cove juxtaposed with the baby playground. This place had been something so exciting to Cove back when he first arrived, and apparently it was to this day. Cove smiled eagerly as you approached, kicking his feet in the air happily, briefly forgetting the low vantage point until the tip of his toe scraped along the ground. He continued swinging his feet, but with a little more care. You thought it was adorable. In this moment, you were home. It just so happened to be the place that you'd grown up, but really, anywhere you could be with Cove was that for you. I love that feeling. It's such a beautiful feeling to have. He had held a special place in your heart for so long, and so much of your life had been shared. You'd grown up on the same street, which had given you some common ground, but it went far beyond that. You had both chosen from a young age to share your life with each other. You wouldn't have it any other way. Here we go again. Here we are. The mood had shifted now. The funny, impulsive night beach trip was a spike of adrenaline that came from you playing in the water under the moonlight, had settled into something quieter and more nostalgic. Cove leaned back, tilting his head towards the sky to admire the stars above. The dinner was really nice. It was great to do all this. The smile he had when he spoke those words fell as quickly as it had appeared. It went by so fast. We all came out here for the party, and it's over. Liz, Lee, our parents, we'll all be going back to our own things now. I usually have a mouse like here, but I feel weird having my mouse there with his titties out like that, not me stuttering and stammering. But what else can you do except say it's okay? I guess it's part of growing up. This place and these people, they're our foundation. It's shaped who we are now, like making castles out of sand. I owe a lot to Sunset Bird. His eyes crinkled fondly, and Cove's voice was gentle when he spoke again. We had a good childhood, I think. I think so too. We were really lucky. I'll always remember our days here. Wow, you're sounding so old now. I'll always remember our days here. He shook his head, sighing heavily. Alright. His smile took an uncharacteristically harsh twist. You had a feeling where this was going. We better get home before your dumb parents who don't know anything get mad. Oh, okay. You had to laugh at the half-hearted impression of young Jeremy. Okay. I was not expecting that. The boy you met in this very park. He chuckled along with you for a moment before tapering off. I hope we don't get grounded. The jokes kept coming. It was very amusing to imagine that not only could your mom somehow ground you as a full-grown and independent adult, but that their powers extended over Cove as well. As soon as you were enjoying being back here, Cove was right. You had to accept that you had to go now. I mean, we could always move back here. What if we bought the condo next to your dad's house? It was late and your moms were still expecting to see you before you got a ride back to the hotel. Cove hopped down from the bars, landing easily on the ground only a short distance below. Now, did he take his clothes with him? Or is she just gonna go walk back naked? Like, did the sea swallow up his clothing? Before you could return, you had some clothes to retrieve from the beach. Okay. You retrod the same path, following the footprints down to the shore you'd left in the sand only a little while earlier. Once Cove had scrounged up his abandoned clothes, you started to walk up the old path home, side by side. Did he put his clothes back on at least? He sure didn't. He sure did not. Droplets of water slipped down from Cove, fell into the road as you made your way back to your mom's house. As he was still soaked and sandy from your early adventure, it was likely that Cove was leaving quite a trail in his wake. But you'd seen Cove's bedroom growing up. It was only natural for him. The air was slightly humid, already pleasantly dense with moisture that felt like a hug as it closed around you. Any damp footsteps that were left behind would take longer to dry in this weather. The signs of your adventure might even be visible when the sun came up the next day. You hoped so. You quite liked the idea of you and Cove leaving your mark on your hometown again, even if only for a little while. Despite being out late, and in Cove's case, mostly undressed, the balmy summer night prevented you from feeling any chill. You were entirely comfortable. In truth, you felt warm inside and out. The day had been so lovely, spending time with friends and family, and your eyes drift over to Cove. Cove Holden, your fiancé. Just seeing him brought a smile to your face. I love you, I always want to be with you. Cove, you make me so happy. You're truly my other half. You said nothing. I always want to be with you. Cove turned to you, his eyes wide and adoring. He bit his lip as he smiled shyly. You could tell that your words had touched him. I feel the same way, exactly. He held your gaze a moment longer, looking straight at you as he spoke again. I love you forever. Aww. You enveloped him in a hug. You playfully bumped against him with your side. You kissed him, reached for his hand. You nodded. This is how the night played out. Give me your hand. Hold hands with me. Cove gladly allowed you to take hold of his hand. Once your hands were entwined, he rubbed his thumb along yours in contented acknowledgement. I lied, I told you I didn't like that. Never do that. You were full of joy. All the other concerns and the day-to-day stresses of normal life were squeezed out by it. All you could think in that moment was how your life was wonderful. Every second and every day needed to end sometime. And that time had nearly come for tonight. You had to get at least some rest and bring it all to a close. And so, the two of you went inside to say goodnight to your moms, as well as clean yourselves up as best you could. Your moms, both in pajamas, ready for their own sleep, hooted with laughter as you came inside, disheveled and damp, and their teasing continued until the car came to you to that hotel. Oh my gosh. Cove, I cannot believe he came in here just only underwear. Cove stayed silent. He put his casual clothes on again, placing the formal ones back in the bag he brought with him. You'd given Mom and Ma plenty of material for a mock scolding, and you got a playful lecture about not staying out so late in the future. You just grinned at your partner in crime, feeling like a naughty kid again. It had been worth it. By the time you and Cove finally dragged yourselves to your hotel room for the night, the sky had been dark for some time, and the lonely hotel hallways were quiet. The late hour made you feel a sense of fulfillment. You really were making the most of your trip. It was such an odd thing that this was almost over. You had settled into this new routine naturally. All the familiar streets and faces made everything easy to get used to. The two of you drowsily shifted past an ice machine into your room. Cove set his phone on his bedside table, and you followed suit. I don't have a bedside table, though, so that means Cove is sleeping on this side. You both started settling in for the night. The hotel room was a welcome sight after your long day. You noticed Cove rubbed the back of his neck and yawned. His voice was quiet and distant. I hope the pet sitter is doing good. I hope the pet sitter is doing good too. Jax better be well. Jax better be well or I'm suing. The wish wasn't exactly directed at you. It was just a sleepy thought that Cove had unleashed upon the world at large, but you still agreed. I hope so too. Cove still kept fish after all these years. How's Gil doing? How's the fish that I named doing? Delightful, colorful things in huge aquariums. Oh, we have a big ass aquarium? Interesting. He spent a lot of time when he wanted to relax just watching them swim. And I sometimes just watching fish swim is pretty relaxing. You also had adopted a pet who you loved dearly. Your home was a lovely place full of critters that both of you cared for. That's why, with both of you gone, it had been important to find a decent pet sitter. Cove's anxiety about leaving them hadn't subsided. Over the vacation, you had caught him a few times texting the pet sitter and asking about his fish. What about my dog? Ask him about my dog. I'm also a little worried it'll be okay. You were even more tense than Cove. Honestly? Cove's eyes widened when he saw how the topic had made you upset. Oh my gosh. I'm not that upset. I'm only a little. He gave you an encouraging smile. I'm sorry for spreading my midnight worries to you. Do you want to see the check-in pictures I got earlier today? Yes, I would love to see the check-in pictures. You nodded and Cove retrieved his phone. He started by showing you some surprisingly well-taken photos of his fish. They all appeared fine. Okay, thank you. Thank you for showing me your fish. What about my doggy? I kept wanting to ask if the pet sitter also does pet photography as a side business. Can I speak? Maybe I just need some water. Maybe that's it. Let me get a sip of water. And by sip, I mean let me finish off this whole bottle of water. It was almost done anyway. That made you laugh. Soon both of you were much more relaxed. The one good thing about the trip coming to an end would be being reunited with your pet. I miss Jax every day. I miss Jax every day I'm not with him. But also being with him is stressful. I'm his emotional support human. He's my emotional support animal. And us together is an interesting combination. It's very rowdy. Cove yawned widely. Widely? He seemed confused at the magnitude of it. He groggily blinked at you. I think it's time for bed. You squinted at your wrist as if looking at a watch. Yeah, it's bedtime o'clock. Two of you got changed and brushed your teeth. In no time at all, both of you were cozy and ready to sleep. After that, you plopped onto your side of the shared bed. Cove headed over to his side, and you felt the mattress dip under his weight. You took yourself... Oh, okay. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's just Gil playing Tekken. You tucked yourself under the covers, and Cove snuggled in closer to the middle. I thought it was an achievement. I was like, how did I get an achievement? I didn't do anything. You turned on your side to face him and scooted slightly closer. Your noses almost touched, and Cove watched you with a soft expression on his face. Kiv. Cove gently spoke. His words were like a lullaby. Good night, princess. Night. Cove's eyes flared shut and he let out a contented sigh. There was a warmth from Cove's body next to you. He was right there. His presence was comforting, perfect for lulling you to sleep. His presence was alluring. You really wanted your hands on him. Ooh, you can be spicy? Let's be spicy. You know I'm all about the spice. Your hand drifted over to Cove's, and you ran your fingers up his arm, across his shoulder, and finally to his face. Cove trembled at the gesture. Ooh. You cradled his cheek, and his eyes opened slightly to peek at you, unsure. Are you tired? As nice as it was to be near him, you understood he might not be in the mood. You wouldn't mind if you both just went to sleep instead. Cove mumbled into the hotel blanket. Not anymore. Oh. Okay, let's do this. Your eyebrows lifted. I don't think they're gonna go into too much detail. This isn't Love Island. And Love Island didn't even get that detailed, unfortunately. I mean, it probably would get me banned, but still. Your eyebrows lifted. He flushed as a growing excitement replaced any previously held plans to rest. You leaned forward and lightly kissed his lips. He pecked you back affectionately. You could feel his smile and his affection. He rolled slightly so that he was fully on his side and had a better range of motion. With the new freedom of his arm, he reached over to stroke the back of your head. Why? Why the back of my head? Don't do that. When the first kiss ended, you immediately started another and then another. Cove stopped running his fingers down your hair to hold your head closer. Ah, okay. You broke apart, satisfied. You kept going. Let's go. Let's do this. What can I do? You kissed him deeply, you grabbed onto his shirt, you hooked your legs around him, you kissed down his neck, you grabbed his butt, you nibbled his ear, you pressed your forehead together affectionately. Nibble his ear. You pressed your chest against his and toyed with his earlobe, peppering it with soft little bites. Cove spoke breathily, inaudible words against the crook of your neck. Um, I don't know, grab his butt. Why not? You slid your hand down his back, lingering and caressing as you please. However, your touch had a purpose, and you kept going until you grabbed his butt. A shiver went through him, and he gripped your pajamas harder. Oh, okay. Okay. You smiled at the curve of his lips. This is lame. I don't want to do that. Kiss down his neck. You bent over Cove, the covers wrapping around you, and kissed all the way across the side of his neck. Cove squirmed under your touch and made a new pleased noise with every touch. Okay. Okay, brother. I'm gonna be calling him brother. Okay, dude. I always say brother. I say brother now more than I say dude, and I used to say dude all the time. I don't know why I say brother now. I'm just thinking of Hulk Hogan. You press your foreheads together. Grab onto his shirt. You tugged and pulled at Cove's soft pajamas and stretched under your fingers. Cove started to run a hand through your hair again, sweetly carding through the strands. It was a never-ending reassurance that he was here and he cared about you. Kiss him deeply. You snaked your arms around Cove and pulled him as close to you as you could. You savored the heat of his body against you. You pressed into Cove as long as you could manage before needing air. He responded just as desperately. Hook your legs around him. I can't with these faces that he's making. They're cute, but it's just like they keep changing. You tangled your legs across Cove. You needed to get even closer. He twisted his arms around your back and kissed the corner of your mouth. Presses your foreheads together. Cove happily looked back at you before he bent his torso so that he was in a position more over you. Okay. He kissed you and ran his tongue along the bottom of your lip. You kissed him back eagerly, encouraged further. Cove twisted his hand towards his pillow, squished his face into it, and letting out a sigh. You smiled and snuggled up against him, both of you starting to settle from the heated moment. That's all? That's all we get? Aww. Cove's face remained pressed to the pillow as you watched his chest rise and fall visibly with his deep inhales, but his arms stayed around you, holding you close. When his breathing slowed, he shifted back over and met your eyes. Cove nuzzled his cheek against you lovingly and whispered, "We really shouldn't stay up all night, huh?" You accepted Cove's judgment. He was right. You both need to sleep for tomorrow. What are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow that we need to sleep for? You curled up comfortably in each other's arms, ready to actually settle down for the night. Boo! Boo! I want more action! Your eyes fell closed sometime after. You were not sure exactly when, only the fact that they were now too heavy to open. You felt a mixture of bitter and sweet emotions. You were happy to be here, but sad it was ending. There was relief that you would soon be in your own home again, but also wondering when you could return here. There were many more memories swirling around in your head that hadn't even crystallized into thoughts yet. Paradoxically, a word, wow. You felt nice but also confused, but then also nice from the confusion. In the back of your mind, you realized that you really must be tired. Unsurprisingly, your exhaustion did not give you too much time to muse on your emotions, and in what felt like seconds, you were already dreaming. The dreams dancing around your head became fragmented and faded until you couldn't remember a thing about them at all. You were growing more aware of the real world. You woke up on your own alarm. Cole, wake me up. Wake me up. To be honest, my alarm would probably wake me up. But Cole, sweet babe. You woke up feeling enveloped. Is it enveloped or is it enveloped? Honestly, it could go either way. Enveloped by warmth. Humming happily, you felt Cove's fingers trail up your arm. You opened your eyes with a smile. Gradually, you struggled to keep your eyes half open. Nah, that's me. You pointed and squeezed your eyes shut. Closing your eyes again, you snuggled into Cove. Snuggle into him. I always gotta snuggle into my boy. You nuzzled into his chest, letting out a delighted sigh. Especially with the titty window, you know I gotta snuggle. I gotta snuggle into them, babes. The warmth of your breath sent a shiver down his body. You wrapped your arm around him, holding him there. Not that Cove minded too much. He happily held you back. The sleepy morning couldn't last too long, though, and eventually you felt Cove's thumb rubbing circles into your shoulder, trying to ease you back awake. Don't do that. He knows that I hate that. That's why he did it. I don't want to leave either, but it's gotta be done. We have to get up, princess. Once we get past today, we can spend as much time in bed together as you want, okay? Delighted, he nuzzled your cheek into him again. You could feel his fingers aimlessly drawing squiggles and circles on your skin. Don't do that. I like the sound of that. You sat up fully with a big yawn, stretching your back, then your arms, and lastly your neck before accepting the day. The blanket fell to the side while you swung your legs over the side of the bed. A part of it almost got caught on your foot, but you kicked it away. Cole slipped out of bed on the opposite side. Today would be your last day in Sunset Bird. The only thing you had planned was some family time in the old neighborhood. You figured you'd see where the day took you from there. Yawning again, you glanced over at your clothes. There was just one more day to live out of your bag. I'm looking forward to having my full wardrobe again. I didn't have anything clean left, but oh well. Hey Cove, is there anything you'd like to see me? Ooh. Hey Cove, is there anything you'd like to see me today? What's this one say? You simply started swearing through the pile. No, you look nice in whatever you wear. You always do. You knew from the tone of his voice that Cove was sincere, and his praise warmed your chest. Lame. Alright, let's get going. Let's get things going. Our families are waiting. What are we doing today? What could we possibly be doing today? We just had the dinner yesterday. That's what we came down here for. Nodding, you and Cove swiftly finished getting ready in the small hotel room. As soon as you had your stuff together and were ready to go, you were off. During the ride there, you and Cove decided to visit his dad's house first this time. When you got dropped off, Cove eagerly hopped out into the street with his eyes locked on his father's condo. Your gaze fell on your fiancé. He stood in the middle of the street where you grew up together, while the summer sun had made him smile, though he was the brightest light in your eyes no matter what. A playful grin spread across your face. It was a beautiful day and a beautiful boy. Cove strode up to his old front door and casually flung it open without bothering to knock once again. You followed at his side as he poked his head in. You closed the door behind you both. Hello? You found Cliff and Kyra in the kitchen, getting breakfast ready. Kyra was cutting an apple while Cliff was watching a frying pan sizzle. He and this frying pan. He loves that frying pan. Cove's parents waved from across the room, not straying from their tasks. Good morning, you two. Yeah, morning. Hello to you. I hope you slept well. Thanks for swinging by. You're more than welcome to join us for breakfast here, if you haven't already eaten, of course. We haven't yet, though. Even if we had, there's always room for more. He stay eating. Same room. Kyra chuckled. She put down the knife she had in her hand so that all her attention could be on her son. You're still my giant growing baby boy. Mom, please. Kyra didn't pay Cove's whining any mind. Instead, she put a finger up to her lip as she thought, her eyes on you and then glimpsing towards a window. I wonder, do you think your family's eaten yet, princess? I'm not sure. Cove and I came over here first. Your eyes flicked over to the clock on their oven. Given the time, your moms may have eaten, or they could be having a slower morning. It was a coin toss either way. Well, give them a call. They could come over. Cove nodded, a sage expression on his face. Making them breakfast is the least we could do after how much food I ate at their house growing up. True, bud. Very true. Alright. You took out your phone. Even though your moms both had cell phones for years, the house phone number was the only one you had memorized as a kid and the first entry on your contacts list. Honestly, same. I don't remember any of my house phone numbers, but I remember my mom's cell phone number because she had that cell phone number since before I was born. And it's been the same ever since. And I hope she never gets a new cell phone number because then I'll have to memorize something else, and I won't. And I'll simply be shot out of luck if I need her. As the call connected, you tapped the speaker button. You figured it would be easier if everyone could hear what was going on. You heard a click and a familiar static. Hello, princess. It's nice to hear from you. Hey, Ma. Good morning. I'm across the street right now, and Cove's family wanted to invite everyone to breakfast. Do you want to come over? That sounds delightful. Pamela and I can do that. Liz and Lee should be able to make it too. Would that be fine? Cliff took a step forward and spoke loudly so that his voice would be picked up. It definitely would be. The more the merrier. We may have gotten together for dinner last night, but there's no law that we can't do it again for breakfast today. Enjoy the company while you can, is what I think. Ma giggled, and you could hear some rustling over the line. Thank you. I'll let them know, and we'll be right over. Cliff gave a thumbs up. Ko shook his head with amusement. Dad just gave a thumbs up. I'm telling you since you can't see him over the phone. Kara snorted and Ma's laughter rang out, filling the kitchen. Cliff switched the thumbs up hand to instead scratch the back of his head. Well, sounds like we'll see you soon. Goodbye for a little while. You could feel her smile from her voice. Bye, Ma. You ended the call with a satisfying tap of the red button. Cliff's eyes wandered around the space. We better get cooking.
Sounds good.
I can help. Me too. I don't want to, but sure, I'll help. No way, you're a guest. Kyra and I have got this. Isn't Kyra a guest too? She grinned. There was something playful in the twist of her lips. I couldn't have said it better myself, Cliff. I've been in your spot before. There's no choice but to accept it. Cove sighed, but from the sparkle in his eyes, you could see that he was entertained. Fine. We'll just hang out over here, I guess. Good. Cove walked over to the living room and gestured at the couch. You both took a seat, getting a comfortable spot to wait for food and family. Cove tilted towards his parents with his chin, then shook his head with a gentle smile, silently asking if you could believe this. All you had was a silent shrug. Time passed, filled with light chatting. Cove kept a careful watch on his parents' culinary progress and teasingly kept a running commentary. Oh, Dad added another pinch of salt. I wonder if that was a good idea. Clove had to raise his voice to project over the living room. He sounded very amused. It's funny that you of all people are commenting on my salt usage. We were born and raised in salt water. Besides, I'm sure you remember back when you were about 12 and tried to make... Cove flushed slightly, but his smile remained as bright as ever. Do you really want to start talking about cooking mistakes, Dad? Because I remember a lot of things too. Like, what about that chowder that was supposed to be a pie? It's too much. It's too much. Cove and his family were quite a show to listen to. You chimed in occasionally, but mostly you provided the laugh track. Eventually, there was a rhythmic knock on the door. That's them. He said it loudly for his parents' benefit. You nodded and got up to greet your family. When you opened the door, surprisingly, there were no moms. Oh? Okay. Why are you here? Not that I don't want you here, but why are you here? Terry stood in front with Miranda at his side. Derek waved from behind them. Hey, buds. We came to see you two before you left. The plan would have been to go over to Princess's house next if you weren't here. Luckily, you two weren't too hard to find. What he said, and hi. Cove burst into happy laughter. His brows were high in surprise, not unlike how he looked after unwrapping a nice present. Wow, thanks for coming. Hello! Kara's voice carried through the house from the kitchen. Cliff likewise projected. Great, the whole gang will be here. You heard the sound of a cabinet open and shut, a pan clattered, and the faucet turned on.
Are we interrupting something?
I hope you guys heard that, because I really don't want to do Derek's voice. My parents, sister, and cousins are coming over for breakfast. They should be here in a few minutes. Yep, but my dad always makes a ton of food anyway. It's no problem for you guys to join. Cove waved off their concerns before pausing with a thoughtful hum. The only real problem is, do we have enough places for all these people to sit? We could go to the beach again. You peered back into the house, and started counting the dining room table, chairs, and bar stools. 5, 6. Cliff interrupted when Cove began trying to use his fingers to connect the different chairs to different guests. Don't worry, some people can squish together on the sofa. It'll be fine. This really is going to be a party. Well, I'd be happy to accept the invitation. Yeah, you'd have to be crazy to skip out on this. Thank you for making room. We're really glad that you came. Your 3 friends finally piled into the house before they had a chance to settle in. The doorbell rang. Only Miranda had sat down. Now that has to be them. People laughed as he walked back over to the door and opened it. He was right this time. It was your parents, Liz and Lee, all crowded on the front steps. They squinted into the house and were surprised at how many greetings were said. The sheer force of the chorus of hellos was impressive. How did they beat us here? How early did Princess call you? We're literally across the street. Terry snorted at your sister's confusion. He seemed quite pleased with himself. We were surprised. We called ourselves. Very cool. Cliff smirked as he adjusted the settings on the stovetop. It's a little more crowded than expected, but we're making it work. Cove led the final group to complete the picture inside, and they took the chance to greet you along with everyone else. When the excited energy buzzing around the table started to calm, you had a second to truly appreciate this view. The more important people in your life all together again. It still felt too good to be true to have everyone here. And then you noticed that Kyra stood back up. She clapped her hands once in a satisfying smack. I hate to interrupt, but I thought you'd want to know that the food's done cooking. Cliff crossed the floor to place a pile of silverware on the table, and then he dropped stuff off on the other surfaces around the rest of the living room. When he was done, he gestured toward the food. Okay. The plates are in the kitchen. Serve yourselves and sit wherever you'd like. He sure does have a lot of chairs, doesn't he? He's got a lot of space. The guests happily formed a line, and the meal was steadily passed around. Before long, each person claimed a seat in the Holden living room area, some of the tables, some others on the kitchen island, and some situated at the couches. Conversations trickled across the various clusters of friends as everyone dug in. Cove finished his plate in record time with a pleased sigh. He put his fork down and surveyed the room. This is really cool. Just how we're getting to do this kind of thing. I like this too, Cove. I hope we'll be able to make this happen again. Of course, there'll always be more reasons to get the gang back together in the future. Yes, the two of you might even dare to celebrate your yearly anniversary, gasp, every year. The smirk on Liz's face grew only wetter as your mom giggled at her teasing. Ma shook her head, chuckling softer now. Liz, shush. Honestly, we just might. You made a good point, it does come around every year. You should. Seriously, you deserve a big celebration for your magical day. The kids are right. You've got a lot of people who want to appreciate you. You've got to give them a chance. It's true. I know I have a lot to be thankful for. I know I didn't read that sentence the correct way, but it got the thought across. There were more nods of agreement around the room, and your moms took each other's hands for support. Neither were expecting so much encouragement. We'll think about it. She'll think about it, and I'll tell Lonnie stop thinking so hard if she doesn't agree. Pam! Good job, Mom. Now with that settled, let's continue to enjoy this perfect gathering. Agreed. Actually, you want to know who else being here would make this extra perfect? I want to know. As amazing as this was, you couldn't help but think of absent faces. In seconds, everyone curiously turned their attention to you. Shiloh, Jeremy, Baxter, never mind. Who would I want here? Honestly, out of anyone that fits, it's Shiloh. Shiloh fits the best. Baxter second, Jeremy not so much. We don't talk to Jeremy anymore. I mean, he was growing on me. Sorry if you heard my hip hop when I was adjusting my seating arrangement. Shiloh, let's say Shiloh, that's bestie. Liz stared at you blankly for several seconds before covering her mouth with her hand and laughing hard. Lowering her hand, she took her head. This is a big crowd, Princess. I'm not so sure that he'd like that, and, you know, Shiloh is a bit of an acquired taste. That's fair. Sighing, you thought about all the times you interacted the last few years. Shiloh was still excellent at dodging interactions he didn't want, but he always came around when it suited him. Yep, sounds like a fuckboy to me. You were aware that he was in what sounded like a serious relationship with a girl he had met in high school. Ooh, maybe one day you'd meet her whenever Shiloh felt like it. Ooh. Cole's mouth wobbled nervously. Ew, why is your mouth wobbling? He shrugged, unsure of what to make of your suggestion at all. Those two men definitely never became close. None of the men that I was going to mention Cove would have liked, so it does not matter. I do not care. It would be cool if Jeremy was here too, and it is too bad Baxter is missing from this. It would be cool if Jeremy was here too. Jeremy, not Jeremy. Jeremy. A small chuckle escaped Cove before his lips curled into a bent smile. He shook his head slightly while he studied you in disbelief. You know, he would hate this, but yeah, I wouldn't mind if Jeremy was actually here. Oh, really? That's interesting. It's interesting. So, laughing, your cheeks hurt from grinning so wide. You could easily imagine how vocally annoyed Jeremy would be sitting among all your friends and family. It was amazing that despite the twists and turns life threw in your direction, You still kept in touch with that angry little boy you met one summer a long time ago. Somehow the universe brought you both together again as teens, and since then you'd continued talking on and off for the past 5 years. You appreciate the occasions that you got to check in with him. Since becoming an adult, his personality had gone through a few more changes. Jeremy was definitely still downcast and dry, but he got back some of that fighting spirit he had as a kid. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Do we want that? Smiling to yourself, you felt that things could come around full circle that way. His negative attitude aside, Jeremy did well for himself. He was going to graduate from a well-respected business university very soon. You were genuinely happy for him. Oh, I see. Yeah, he seems like he'd go into business. I mean, technically we're in business. And as much as he protested the very notion, you were pretty sure that Jeremy was going to end up going back home and helping his parents run their small hobby shop. Leaning back in your seat, you were pleased with the suggestion. Derek scratched his cheek with an amused chuckle. It's so unreal that you did become friends with that mean kid. Talk about a comeback for the ages. I know, after I decked him too. It's historic. Giggling, you thought about how Derek and Jeremy only ever met in person that one summer years and years ago. But because you had a continued relationship with both, you kept them informed on each other. Interesting. I'm so friendly. This is not me. I'm not this friendly in real life. While Jeremy couldn't muster up any care about what was going on with his old acquaintance, Derek was always morbidly intrigued by the latest Jeremy updates. You were more than happy to oblige. There's no way Jeremy would agree that any of us are friends. Pran is still the only one who gets that honor. Pran? We don't even know Pran. Incredible. Being people he's definitely familiar with is still close enough when it comes to Jeremy. Yeah. It is too bad Baxter's missing from this. Cove turned to you with a genuinely thoughtful look. He rubbed at his forearm while he composed his words. It'd be kind of interesting to see where Baxter would be like now. I think I wouldn't mind seeing him again, though it'd probably be awkward. Yeah, that's what I think too. Is it because I never got his number? Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I never got his number. I should have asked him for his number. I didn't want Cole to think I was planning something sneaky. That's why I didn't ask for his number. I just want to know. Ooh, yeah, Baxter's that cool guy with the eyes, shirt, and the fancy rental car, right? I liked him. He was pretty nice. Yes, and he was iconic. It's too bad he had to mysteriously disappear and never be heard from again. But maybe that makes him even more of an icon? You left things there. We're done. There was a playfulness in Kyra's stare as she scanned the room. She slowly placed her index finger on her chin. Now that I think of it, there's something I haven't done in a while. Eyebrows were raised as Kyra's incomplete thought. She was wordlessly urged to continue. Kyra didn't hesitate. Look through all the photos of Cliff. No, what? Look through all the photos Cliff has here. That's okay. Wouldn't that be fun for all of us? What, Mom? Why would you say that? Practically all those photos are of me. Yeah, that's the point, Cove. And also why? Embarrassing my baby boy is one of the perks of being a mom. Much to Cove's dismay, his mom was thoroughly entertained at his outburst. She winked in your direction. Meanwhile, Cliff eagerly stood up with a wave of proud affection for his son to completely miss Kyra's teasing intent. I think that's a great idea. Anyone else interested in the pictures? Yeah. I am. Lee shot her hand up before Cliff could even take a full step. Terry and Miranda snuck each other a glance before nodding with matching grins. That sounds swell. That would be lovely, Cliff. Mom tried to hide her amusement behind her hand, but she couldn't stop from laughing from that laugh that slipped out. Oh boy, I don't feel like saying snicker, okay? It's a lot. I've seen them before, but they're never. Well, I want to see them. Poor Cove. Everybody loves to pick on you. I want to see them. It's been so long since I last saw little Cove. Mr. Holden met your gaze with a soft look that told you he was thinking the same thing. I bet this will be a goldmine of entertainment. Cove buried his face in his hands and sighed slowly. His shoulders deflated in defeat. Fine. We can take a look. Everyone happy with picture time? Yay! Yes! They both excitedly raised a fist in victory. Smaller cheers from your friends and family worked their way around the room and even bounced up to your feet excitedly. And even you bounced up to your feet excitedly. I think that's what that said. Dad flipped open his faded album of physical pictures. He held it up to his face. The corners of his eyes crinkled, and though the book covered much of his face, you were certain he was smiling fondly. But he didn't keep it to himself, laying the family album on the dining table. You and the rest of the party gathered around to get a peek. Oh my god, I was not expecting this. Little chunky baby! Not beach bum. Not beach bum written on his his little swimsuit. Is this a swimsuit? Would this be considered a swimsuit? Or would it just be a onesie? Who's to say? The first picture on the first page was Baby Cove and a cute little onesie. Okay, guess just a onesie. There were several coos and ahs from the group, and Cliff's eyes were shiny with tears as he sniffled. He's grown so much. Cove was such a cute kid. That's my darling angel. Nice onesie, Cove. How precious. Even as a baby, you look unimpressed, honestly. Sighing loudly, Cove crossed his arms. His pout grew worse and it only put a wider grin on your own face. He was a perfect match to the younger self captured in ink on the page. My baby boy was a very quiet child. I probably had a lot on my mind. Things never changed. What was there to think about? Snack time versus nap time? Cove scowled. Meanwhile, you and Kyra couldn't help but crack up into fits of laughter. After breakfast and photo showcase, everyone decided to stick around. Why? Hanging around Mr. Holden's house turned into taking a walk around the neighborhood, and then for lunch you switched over to your mom's condo. It was a really good time enjoying each other's company, but eventually the sun began to set and there was nothing else to delay your friends and family from going home. Inside your mom's house, the home you had been raised in, the group was taking their time saying their goodbyes. It was tough for you, for your family, your friends. You knew what was weighing on the mood. It might be some time before you'd see one another again. It was a pleasure having you all here, and you're welcome to come around anytime. Again, anytime, that's what I meant to say. Ma wrapped an arm around Mom. With a light chuckle, Mom leaned her head gently into her wife, and they both beamed. Absolutely. I know we're all adults with our own hectic lives, but we appreciate the time taken to visit. Snorting, Liz crossed her arms. You leaned one hip out to the side while her lips... She leaned one hip out to the side while her lips curled teasingly. You make it sound like this was such a struggle. Some of these people still live here, and it was a vacation for everyone else. Even so, it was very thoughtful, and I hope everyone has a safe trip home. Kyra clapped a hand on Cliff's shoulder. He was puzzled as she leaned in so he could hear her. That means you too. It's dangerous crossing the street. Remember to look both ways. Hey now. Yeah, good luck with all the important grown-up things I'm sure you'll have to do when you're all out of here. Definitely. I'll give updates next time something exciting happens or something lame so I can vent about it. How nice. I'm glad Lee won't be forgetting the little people. Never ever. I'll keep in touch too. You better. Well, me and Randy aren't going far, so we can keep an eye on town. We can keep an eye on the town for the rest of you. Nothing will get past us. Right. We'll make sure everything is okay. No need to worry at all. That's kind of you. I can't with Derek's voice. Miranda and Terry gave each other pleased smiles, already committing to their self-appointed task. Derek scratched the back of his head, wearing a pensive look. It's always sad when I have to leave this town. It happens too often, but at least there will be people looking out for Sunset Bird. That makes me feel better about it. After a pause, Mr. Holden gave the younger folks a thumbs up.
Great.
That's all great. You've got a lot to be proud of and a lot to be looking forward to. Well said, Cliff. I'm thankful that I've been privileged to witness the growth you've undergone over the years. You've each matured beautifully. Cove was touched by his parents' words and struggled to come up with something to follow. Yeah, it's been good seeing everyone. No one had taken a step yet, and you couldn't put this off any longer. It was time to say goodbye. Goodbye, I'll see you again, I'll miss you. This was fun, thanks for being here. I'm glad we got to do this. Me too. Today was even better than I imagined. I don't know what we're gonna do without the kids around. I know, they keep us young. We're not that old. Some of us still got it. Kyra definitely still has it. I mean, I guess Mr. Holden does too, but definitely Kyra. Kyra's a MILF. She winked at Cliff teasingly, and he shook his head. Both of your moms laughed at that, and you caught several more cracks of smiles among your friends. Afterwards, there was more sniffling and hugs, a lot of hugs. Then people started trailing out into the street, seeing others off. Your friends and family got into their cars and left the neighborhood. By the time things had fully settled, you realized that the sun had set. Earlier, you and Cole decided to have a car pick you both up. Neither of you wanted to bother your parents after such a long day. It would be a little while longer before it would be there, though. It was the right choice, as both sets of parents shot you weary looks. The forest seemed ready to call it a night. It didn't take either you or Cole very long to assure them that it was okay to head home and go to bed. With one more round of goodnight goodbyes, your families returned to the condos. Then the only people left on the street were you and Cove. Cove closed his eyes, humming happily, while he waited for it to pass. He stared up at the sky. Cove's hands were in his pockets and his shoulders were relaxed when he caught your attention with a tilt of his head. Can you guess what I'm thinking? Well, at that moment you were in the neighborhood you grew up in together with some time to spare. You rolled your shoulders back and pretended to crack a few of your knuckles. An amused look fidgeted on Cove's face while he observed you silently. Could you perhaps be thinking that the fireflies are out now? Right. Do you want to go to the Poppy Hill before we leave? Always. There was an eager bounce in your step as you and Cove crossed over towards the hill behind your mom's house. Side by side, you stared out at the view in awe. We stay coming to catch fireflies. As you imagined, the hill was dotted with glowing firefly light. It perfectly reflected the memories of childhood held closely in your mind. Cove sighed contentedly, seeing them across the hill, weaving in around the blaze of grass and the stars above. Cove cocked his head to the side before his expression twisted playfully when he met your eye. You were about to prod him about what was on his mind when he took off running. Are we doing this? Are we doing this? I don't want to touch these bugs. I mean, fireflies are like the only bugs that I'm allowing, that I accept. But I still don't want them. I bet I'll catch one first. Oh, it's on, he laughed and watched him try to catch one instead. You cheered him on, you went chasing after the next firefly that caught your eye. You laughed, I'm gonna watch him. After a few minutes, Cove passed? He paused. He did not pass. He's still alive. Cove paused, staring at you. From where you stood, you weren't entirely sure about his expression, so you gave him a small wave. You aren't gonna catch any? No, not tonight. I'm enjoying the show so far, although it's longer than I thought. Don't worry, I'll have a firefly before you can say sunset bird 5 times fast. The fireflies took Cove all around the hill, flitting in and around his fingertips. Every so often, your heart would flutter watching the way Cove would stop, stare up wondrously at the twinkling bugs above him. The pursuit for fireflies continued until a handful had been caught. A handful? You only need one. Why are you catching more than one? Sir! Cove crossed over to you with a bright smile that could rival every twinkling bug and star around you. Cupped between both hands, Cove carefully held a firefly. Okay, just one? I hope it's just one. The corner of his mouth twisted before a few giggles escaped him. And you knew that feeling well. The way the firefly would buzz around, tickling the palms of your hands. Cove's eyelids flutter open, meeting yours. He watched you with a complicated mix of emotions, heavy with the weight of 15 years of history, of memories. It's really a relief that I got to see the fireflies. This trip wouldn't have felt complete without it. Yeah, I think you're right. You spotted another firefly lowering to your eye level before looking up to the top of Cove's head. It landed right on his hair and you smirked. What? You have a very tiny firefly hat. I do? Before you could answer, the firefly took off and disappeared into the night. You gave it a tiny wave goodbye. Well, that didn't last very long. Too bad. I'll remember them as my tiny hat forever. Me too. Taking a deep breath, Cove held your eye. He appeared to be conflicted about what he wanted to say next, and you waited for him to make his choice. It's so strange not to live anywhere anymore. Not to live here anymore, not anywhere. I can't. Why can't I read? Let me start over. It's so strange not to live here anymore. Most of my life, neither of us were ever really away from Sunset Bird. Well, unless one of us went on a trip somewhere. Or when both of our families took trips together. Remember that? I do. Do you remember when you ran away? I remember that. He chuckled, losing himself to fond reminiscing. You couldn't help but match his grin. I liked the road trip one a lot, though I don't think we all could squish into that RV again. We're way too big. Laughing, Cove shook his head. His brow creased the longer he sat with the thoughts spinning in his brain. Those visits back with my mom. I remember what a big deal they felt like then. To be away from here without anyone else coming for a whole few weeks. Oh, how little I knew. Hey, what did you used to tell your mom about me when you were on those trips to see her? You know what? I'm curious. I want to know. Tell me. Thrown a little off kilter, Cove hadn't been expecting that question at all. Both of his eyebrows raised, and part of you wondered if you had somehow spoken gibberish instead. I feel like that sometimes. I feel like whenever I speak, I do not speak English. Honestly, I've been wondering about it since I was 13. Kyra always kept the details to herself, and you never said a word either. Cove couldn't meet your stare for a second longer. Bashful, he turned away, and his voice grew smaller. Mostly, I'd just tell her about the times we'd hang out, but I know I was pretty enthusiastic when I was, because you are someone really special to me. And I admit that much to my mom. Not sure if I used the word crush exactly, but she knew that you were the highlight of my young life. And look at that, you still are. He delivered that final thought earnestly, enough that you stopped breathing altogether. Cove beamed at you, pleased with his confession. Thank you. You're welcome, and thank you for being my favorite story. Aww, that's so cute. Finally, Cove parted his hands and released the firefly back into the hill. It flew up around his face before darting away up into the sky, but your gaze was fixated on him. There was a touch of wistfulness in his features as he watched the bug disappear into the night. It wasn't until Cove turned his attention back to you that his demeanor warmed. Okay, I'm ready to go now. Yeah, I think I'm ready too. I'm not. Do we have to go? You nodded. You shook your head. Part of you didn't want to leave the Poppy Hill, but you knew it was time to go home. Trailing a few steps behind Cove, you looked back down the hill. You spotted your childhood home immediately. I'm grateful we could come home here and see how things are without us. It was nice.
Yeah.
It really was. With Cove right there along with you, you made your way down the hill, with the same stars above trailing away. Your last night Sunset Bird was closing out. You were lost deep within a dream, and adrift in the current of your unconscious mind. Cove was with you even there, his presence strong as your mind flitted from scene to scene, the logic of the conscious world melting around you. Something jolted you from your slumber, the visions you constructed slipping away even as you scrambled to catch them. It had been a good dream. You opened your eyes to an unlit, unfamiliar ceiling. The darkness permeated the room so thoroughly that you were sure it was still the middle of the night. As your eyes adjusted to what little light there was to catch on to, a smiling face cozied itself right above you. There he was, above me. Sir, do not do that. That's scary. Good morning, princess. The grin was bright enough to make it seem like maybe the sun had risen after all. Good morning, wow, it's my dream come true, he said sarcastically. Oh, it's my dream come true, you coon. What have you got up your sleeve today? Please, stop being a morning person. You've grown as grumpy as you could manage. What do you got up your sleeve today? You knew you were about to experience one of Cove Holden's plans. His expression softened at your voice, the tender affection in his gaze obvious despite the dim space. You kissed him, you flicked his nose, you ruffled his hair, you pulled the covers over your head. Ruffle his hair. He closed his eyes happily as you rubbed the top of his head, musing up his hair. Would you prepare... I'm so sorry about that. Would you prefer me to wake you up by tapping on the window? On the what window? What is happening? No? Cove simply smirked, amused by his own wit. What is happening? Cove, you are so confusing. I don't understand you. I mean, you really should have expected this was gonna happen. I did. I was waiting for it. I hope you might have outgrown it. Fine. Shame on me. Because you got me more than once. Way more than once. I don't know what that means. But okay. I'm guessing you woke me up for some reason. Are you ever gonna let me know? Well, this is our last day here. It's our last day. I thought yesterday was our last day. Why are we here? Everyone might still be asleep, but if we get up now, we can at least see the neighborhood. Do you want to? Of course, with you, definitely. And the reason that you didn't tell me this plan last night is, here we go again, yet again. I'm just not. Let's just go. Great. Then he held out one of those hands to help you get up to. You took it. You held out both arms, released. Yeah, pick me up. Pick me up. You woke me up. Pick me up. Cove complied, crouching down to scoop you up before gently setting you down again. Before you could head out, you and Cove both needed to get dressed. You did so quietly. The strangeness of the hour meant that your body seemed less coordinated than usual. Each article of clothing, a new puzzle, but you managed it. The two of you were eventually ready to head out into the wide world. Dawn still hadn't broken when you left the hotel, yet it was easy enough to get a ride down into Sunset Bird. The journey was peaceful. You might have expected sleep to attempt to claim you once again, with the sky still so dark, but Cove's excited energy was infectious. Morning was finally starting to come over Sunset Bird as you arrived, almost like the sun itself wanted to be there to welcome you. Cove turned towards you, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. One more summer beach trip? You laughed, nodding to reassure him, as if there was any alternative now, that you were here and he was looking at you so eagerly. Yeah, one more. You could have taken your time getting there, dwelling under the morning sun, or you could have taken the short walk at a regular pace. And both of those would have been just right for some other occasion, but this time, without either of you saying a word, you and Cove set off sprinting. Or running in this game. The two of you tore gleefully down the street towards the beach, as excited and as ungainly as the kids you'd once been. You were laughing with joy and at the absurdity of it all, being here at the break of dawn with a boy who you'd once discovered on the nearby hill, who never completely grew up. As it was still early, you did your best to keep the noise down. To the side, you saw Cove covering his mouth to stifle his own giggles, similarly aware of the people sleeping in condos around you. You thought of what the mean old not-grandparents would have said if they could see you now. All you could do was continue running and stumbling down towards the beach, away from the residences and their sleeping occupants. It was only a few minutes before you arrived at the expansive ocean shore. Cove kicked off his shoes and strode right into the water, not stopping until his feet were entirely submerged and the waves tickled his ankles. You stood close by on the damp sand. You know what, I'll get into the water with him this time. Why not? After slipping your shoes off, you let the sea flow over you. It was cool against your skin, but not as cold as when the wave pulled back and your wet feet were exposed to the air again. The two of you stood there, watching as the sun continued its ascent over the horizon. Silence fell between you until finally, dawn had fully broken. Even then, Cove spoke in a whisper. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've been playing Animal Crossing lately, and the Bunny Day balloons have been haunting me, but I thought this was like a present floating by. Yeah, okay. I can't believe it's over. I can't either. How are we already at this point? It all went by too fast. Boy, you really sound like a kid again. I think it's good enough. You shrugged. You nodded. I think it's good enough. A ghost of a smile crept over Cove's face, like the sun peeking out between the clouds on an overcast day. Oh. I was not expecting this. Cove reached out and enveloped your hand in his, pressing your palms together tightly. The silence returned just for a second. I'm glad we came this morning, and that we came on this whole visit back.
I'm so glad.
But more than anything, boy, why are you crying? But more than anything, I'm glad for ending up in this town in the first place where I got to grow up with a really nice neighbor. I wouldn't have wanted any other life. No, this is so cute. I'm most grateful for meeting you too. Thank you, thanks for being here. I'm grateful for meeting you too. Cove looked over at you out of the corner of his eyes, not turning his face away from the sea. He doesn't seem to be looking at the sea right now. If anything, he's staring me dead into my orifices. My orifices? I don't think that's the right word I meant to use. My eyeballs. His expression was full of affection, from the gentle curve of his smile to his clear, contented brow. It was a stark contrast with the tears rolling down his cheeks. Oh, I love you. You counted yourself lucky. Even though you were leaving now, this place had gifted you with so much that you carried with you wherever life may take you. The memories you've made, the lessons you've learned, the people you'd built relationships with, you'd keep those pieces of your life in Sunset Bird forever. You stood with Cove, silently watching as bright rays swept away the last of the night's shadows until the day truly arrived. Your spirits were high as the sun rose ever higher in the sky. The two of you had found yourselves meandering back to the neighborhood street on sandy feet, strolling down the path just as you've done thousands of times before. This was where it all started. You were compelled to look at the exact spot you'd first encountered Mr. Holden, sitting dejected on the curb. He wasn't like that anymore. Still, you couldn't forget the day began, just as you couldn't believe what an adventure it led to. Things had never been the same since that moment, and you couldn't be happier for it. Your mental lingering on that meeting had turned physical, causing you to stop in your tracks. It was only when you heard Cove's voice calling your name that you remembered where you were and realized what you'd done. That you remembered when you were? What? I don't think that's correct. And what a present it was. A shining sun, a clear blue sky, and Cove James Holden by your side. All the most natural things in the world. So, what's the next step? You watched Cove expectantly, ready for him to guide you forward from here. It was a crinkle around his eyes as he laughed. It's up to you now. Oh, exciting, you're giving me too much power, I don't know, but I don't want it to be, you should pick. You clammed up, you're giving me too much power. Aren't you worried about it going to my head? Cove smirked, shaking his head. Don't worry about it, I'm listening, so go ahead. His eyes met yours, holding your gaze. I believe in you, princess. No matter how much time might pass, there was something that you could count on to be constant. Cove, your family, his family, and all your other loved ones, being there for you when you needed it was one of those things, since the beginning and for always. Oh, title drop. Knowing they were there, and you would never be truly alone, made the future look all that much brighter. Could we go to the Poppy Hill and find somewhere private to make out? Do you want to keep walking and go through town or grab something to eat? We should see who can reach the end of the street fastest. I just want to wait to see what happens. You want to get something to eat? Your early morning escapade has stirred up your appetite, and you're positive it would have for Cove as well. Cove nodded, his gaze shifting from you to roam across the little place that you both called home. There's a lot that's still out there in the world. A lot of different ways things could go in the future, but for this, I think you'd be perfect choice. You beamed his approval of your suggestion, lifting your spirits ever higher. Your days growing up in Sunset Bird had been so wonderful. Even the prospect of leaving again made your chest ache, yet you weren't going to let that stop you. It would be hard, but you knew that it would still be there, waiting, whenever you wanted to return. Facing Cove, who'd been by your side through it all, you knew that one day you'd look back on these memories now, just as you fondly reminisced about your childhood growing up here. Each happy moment you experienced became only a memory of what used to be. But that was what life was, and it was okay. As it was from the beginning and continuing that way for always. Life took another step forward. Thank you for beginning a life here. Hold on. You can always come back again. Always. The end. What do you mean the end? I'm supposed to get married. I'm supposed to be getting married. What is this? Hello again. Thank you so much for getting the Cove wedding DLC. See, there we go. I was like, no. Because you're engaged to Cove in this playthrough, you can choose to continue your story into the wedding planning events if you'd like, and you can always make a save here and come back if you want to return to the option later on. Yes, I want to play the wedding DLC. No, I don't want the... yeah, I want the wedding DLC. We came here for wedding DLC. We're getting the wedding DLC. Welcome to the Cove wedding DLC. These events are set after step 4, but it's not specified when. It would be during that same summer, the next summer, a year in the future, springtime in California, etc. Okay. You can assume the timeline is whatever it needs to be to make sense for the choices you made to progress the relationship. Which initiative level would you like Cove to have for the wedding? High initiative. We hope you have a truly wonderful wedding. Our wedding. I don't know how long this DLC is going to take. We're already almost 3 hours in. Oh, this is our office. Side by side on a purple-dyed faux leather couch, you sat with your fiancé, Cove. The air in the chic office smelled non-distinctly perfumed, though luckily it was a demure touch rather than smothering. A soft hum came from the air conditioning, gently flowing the scent around the room. It was the first time either of you had been there, and you weren't sure if the atmosphere was meant to comfort or impress visitors. For some people, it wouldn't make a difference either way, like with your own partner, for example. I think because the little DLC story took me like almost 3 hours, we're gonna have to come back tomorrow for, my thinking, for more our life. I thought we would end it today, but it's looking like it's not gonna be. So let me just stop talking and we're gonna continue so we can get as much done as we can. Cole's hand was intently gripping yours. You could feel him trembling and hear the squishing sound noise the couch made each time he shifted around. One part came from his usual nervousness over these kinds of matters, and the other came from almost uncontainable excitement for the same reason. This place was the headquarters of a well-known event planning agency in the area, and this office belonged to their planner for a very particular type of special occasion: weddings. You were here to plan your wedding together. So he wouldn't be only your fiancé, Cove would be your husband, and on that occasion, there was going to be a ceremony, reception, and everything. Ooh, we're getting a honeymoon too? You felt truly content. You were overflowing with throat energy. You matched with Cove, shaking from nerves. It felt totally natural and like no big deal to you. You focused on being concerned for Cove. I'm also nervous, but I am thrilled. I want this. With your vibration and Cove shivering you, you hoped you both didn't slide down off the cushions. Today's meeting should be straightforward. Introducing yourselves to the planning team, getting familiar with one another, and going over only some basics. The entire process would take multiple visits here and trips to other locations. Before setting up the appointment with the planner, you and Cove decided that you were going to set the wedding in, or at least near, Sunset Bird. Also had a good idea of who would be attending, how large the wedding needed to be, and a few other details related to your lives together going forward. That was as far as you had gotten in the process when you decided to bring in an assistant. All the planning was going to be great, you thought. It was going to be pain, but worth it, you felt. You were thankful you had a professional to do this. Planning the day with Cove as a team was something you looked forward to do. You know what? I'm thankful about the professional. Oh hey, Cove, you're looking good. Cove noticed the dreaminess in your eyes, and the corners of his mouth lifted hopefully. His second hand reached over to clasp both yours and his first. A metallic sensation pressed into your skin. The engagement ring securely on his left ring finger. You felt shuffled against the black and white striped rug that covered your feet shuffled against the black and white striped rug that covered over the center of the hardwood floor as you returned a smile back. Here we are. It's really happening. His fingers squeezed your hand deeper into his hold. I'm not really good with, any of this, but I'm sure that whatever it ends up being like, it's gonna be amazing. It has to be, because I'm marrying you. Aww, you're so sweet. You're so wonderful, I completely agree. I'm glad you're feeling good about things. Yeah, and hopefully you only panic a moderate amount. Why am I bullying him? Stop this. You had to turn your face away out of shyness. You're so sweet. You're wonderful. You're so wonderful. He was too sweet sometimes. And then there was a series of quick knocks. Your conversation stopped as you shared unsure looks between one another. Come in. The response to Cove's words, a shiny wood door off to the side swung open. Hello, lovebirds. Oh my god, is this who I think this is? Is this Baxter? Is he back? Baxter! Bestie! Standing in the entry was a tall man about your age. His dark gray hair was swept to the side and his neck was on his neck was a distinctive mole. Oh my god, I'm so excited. This is Baxter. Oh my god. His curved grin and brown eyes grew wide in sync. Oh, this deep voice, I can't. Love would have been a lie if you two dolls had broken up. Cove stared while frozen in place, a deer in the headlights. His mouth opened and closed again, soundlessly. I can't believe he's our wedding planner. I love that. Baxter, do you know this person, Cove? This is awkward. This is amazing. Your eyes are between Cove and the man, confused. You were speechless seeing him. Baxter? The former tourist stepped further into the room while chuckling. I'm flattered you two people of excellence remember me too. I'm hot all over the place right now. I'm all over the place stuttering. See, I even started while saying stuttering. And I didn't even have a dress in black and white. His style choices might have changed, but you realize now the design of his rug might not have been an entirely arbitrary choice. I mean, I love what's going on here. I love everything about this. It was exciting to see it was really him. You would only feel shock and disbelief. You were ticked. Why would I be ticked? I'm excited to see him. It's Bestie. Bestie love of my life. Like, next playthrough, we might do Baxter's. We might do Baxter's because Baxter's kind of hot. This was incredibly unexpected. This was an incredible, unexpected reunion. It's been a while. Years.
I know.
Yeah, it has been. Cove dropped his response heavily. The tone likely would have been even firmer if he wasn't so in disbelief that Baxter had reappeared in front of both of you, and as a wedding planner of all things. Yeah, weren't you a dancer? Your wedding planner. What happened? Do you have an explanation for it? What? Well, as professionally as possible, Baxter strode to the other half of the room and took a seat in the rolling office chair opposite the couch you were on. He used the tips of his feet to smoothly twist the chair's position so that it faced you completely as he continued the reply. I went back to college, eventually graduated, joined the great wide career world, grew up, and learned some more. I'm still learning. To fully settle in, Baxter dropped an elbow on the armrest of his seat and rested his cheek against the propped up fist. That's the curated version. Life is a wonderful journey. The words were spoken flatly and authentically, and punctuated with a dismissive gesture of his free hand. Why is he making that face? Why does he look angry? It was impossible to tell if the sarcasm was purely in response to Cove's own sharpness, or if there was something else. Even Cove raised an eyebrow at how clear the displeasure was. I mean, but Cove finds everyone displeasurable. I do too, honestly. But what? He always has beef with the other guys besides Derek. Baxter was aware of his impression he was giving, but only half shrugged with one shoulder over it. His eyes drifted away from you and your partner. Whatever the story was, you definitely weren't getting the full version of it. Do I care? I don't. I'm just glad to see him. Well, I'm happy we got to meet again. Okay, I hope you've been alright. This is so weird. I missed you. I'm not saying that. I'm happy that we get to see you again. A bend formed in his eyebrows, a small sign of regret. It is nice.
Now.
That's my introduction taken care of then. Let's swing things back around to the real reason you came. You're getting married! Congratulations! You were given an enthusiastic round of applause from the audience of one. We got engaged kind of a while back when there was a lot going on with our lives. Oh, did we? Is that how our engagement went? Refresh me, because I don't know. Baxter slipped a pin out of his jacket pocket and tapped it against the desk counter at his side. He looked between you and Cove, satisfied. Considering we're already acquainted, it should make the process that much better. I'm sure your special day is going to be one to remember. Cove's uneasy single word was directed towards you. In a whisper, he elaborated on what that was supposed to mean. Are we really going through with this? Having Baxter plan our wedding? I'd like to. I'd like you. I'd like you to. Okay, there we go. I was struggling with that sentence. Cove quietly yelped. Oh, not his eyes getting large. Babes, it's okay. It wasn't unreasonable that the person on the other side of the room could hear the conversation, but Cove had not expected him to answer. Oh, I mean, I think I could do it well. I can do it right, and there's very few weddings I'd like to go off like a charm than this one. He spoke in a conciliatory way. Baxter's normal boldness was entirely missing while asking for this chance. You and Cove faced one another on the couch. Of course, I'm gonna have Baxter plan my wedding. I believe in him. Baxter has good taste. The softness in his eyes and the sloping of his brows shared his thoughts without him needing to say a word. He was being swayed. You nodded to your partner. There was a pause, and then Cove spoke. Okay. While still on the couch, Cove brought his torso up to its full height and held his head high. The look on his face was determined. Since this is actually the reality that exists now, I've got a question for you, Baxter. Yes. Cove's strong stance began to crumble as he shrunk into himself once more. Is your offer for dance lessons still open? Oh my gosh. Not Baxter's face. I can't. Not his eyes getting like that. They shrunk. A new planner gasped before quickly settling into laughter with a clap of his hands. Of course. Always. That's a relief. I'm probably gonna need them.
I'm here.
I can't. I can't. Hearing this man's voice in my ears. It's making me bashful. I understand completely. I'm here for you. And you as well, princess. If there's a need. Oh, trust me, Baxter. There will be a need. What if we could cheat in this game? That'd be crazy. Would I do it? I'd save the game first. I'd save the game first because Cole's my little baby boo, but Baxter, it's kind of a dish. You were a good dancer, but it would be nice to practice with someone. You were a good dancer and didn't need help. You were a good dancer and you didn't want to dance with Baxter. You weren't a good dancer and could use the guidance. You weren't a good dancer, but didn't want lessons anyway. You weren't a good dancer, but didn't, you know what? I'm not the best dancer. I'm not. I'm very left-footed. I'll say that. Yeah, I'd like that. Got it. That works for me. Now, he shifted closer in the rolling chair with the glint in his eyes that made him look like the teen he used to be. Was he a teenager? I thought he was in his 20s. I thought he was like 22. Let's roll up our sleeves and get into the details, which I don't mean literally. No need to crumble my jacket, but I'm gonna have to ask you quite a few questions. I'm ready. So am I. To start, we have thought of possible surnames. Yours, his, so what are you imagining? I don't care. I just want to marry them. But we have actually talked about it. Have we? This is news to me. This is news to me. Yeah, we're going with, both of us are using a hyphenated name. Both of us are keeping our own last names. Princess Rachel and Cole Holden. You know what? I'll take his last name. Why not? Good to know. Princess and Cole Holden it is. Cole straightened up against the back of the couch. You could practically hear his heart pounding over your names being said as one that way. It made you giddy too. This is cute. The raise of Baxter's eyebrows revealed his amusement at your reaction to what to him was probably something mundane, but he was happy for you rather than mocking. And what about titles in the wedding? Bride, groom, is it whichever you like? Honestly. Can I be groom?
Of course.
I'm not making fun of the voice. It's just every time I get a little startled. I'm not expecting it. I forget how deep his voice is each time. Of course, it's your day. I'm a groom too. He's a groom, I'm the bride. Can I call him either? I I don't want to be called neither. I don't see why not. Princess and their groom for the couple of the wedding. Yep. I love that. Princess and their groom. Love it. Sexy. Baxter flipped open a notebook and sat on the desk. Can I get an idea of scale? Only an estimate. It doesn't have to be a complete guest list. And even if it was, you never know how many of those invites will accept the RSVPs. That's true. That's true. I don't want a big wedding. Like, I do want a big wedding, but I don't want a big wedding. Don't stress too much over who's going to be in attendance. Cole stepped off the cloud nine he'd been hovering on since the start of the conversation and planted himself back firmly on the purple couch in Baxter's office. For sure, there's gonna be our parents, 4 of them, Princess's sister and their uncle, aunt, and cousin. Do I get to meet my uncle and aunt finally? Some grandparents should be there, not all of them. We'll have our friends Miranda, Terry, and Derek. You're still friends with Miranda and Terry. That is wonderful. Yeah. He nodded agreeingly as Cole filled Baxter, and that's right, but also I was wondering if we can invite Shiloh. That's right, but also I was wondering if we can invite Jeremy. That's right, but also I was wondering if we can invite Shiloh and Jeremy. Why not? Cole snorted, covering his mouth to resist a full laugh. We can try, but I don't think they'll show up. You never know. Baxter's eyes shifted from your face to Cove's and back again. It was sharp. He was trying to read the room. Co-workers of yours?
No.
He was quick with that. He was real quick with that no. But mirth Cove had rapidly turned into more of a nervous chuckle. He'd momentarily forgotten it wasn't just a conversation between you and him. Shiloh is someone we've known since we were kids. It's just, he's not exactly reliable. He's always done what he feels like and doesn't do anything else. You know what? And that's the way to live. That's the way to live. Oh, he could have a girlfriend. I heard he had a girlfriend. We should bring this girlfriend. I think Princess likes him more than I do. I don't hate him or wouldn't let him come to our wedding, though. Shiloh's not bad. Exactly. He's hard to like, but harder to hate. It's just for old time's sakes. Imagine how funny it'd be. Now, this is an answer I would pick. I want to do it for Liz. You know she still has a soft spot for him. I don't give a fuck about what Liz wants. It's not her wedding. Imagine how funny it'd be. Alright, and Jeremy? Cove didn't resist laughing with his whole heart that time. We met him as teens, barely. We were like 13 and he was a little younger. He was horrible, mean and angry and unreasonable. But thanks to Shiloh and of all people, we met him again years later. It turns out Jeremy's okay now, more bristly than hostile. I got kind of attached even though we're not friends because Jeremy is the kind of guy who won't describe anyone as a friend. Except for Pran. You ended Cove's explanation with him and had matching smiles with him to boot. Jeremy's great. I can't believe that he grew on me. It's definitely be entertaining to have him there. Having to attend would make him annoyed, and that's the goal. Not me being an antagonist. Next time, but well, you left it there. He grew on me. Honestly, he grew on me. You've got some interesting relationships. I'll put it down, and we can certainly send invitations when the time comes. It'll be up to them to decide what to do with the offer. Who else? You and Cove, what if we invited Baxter? But he'll be there anyway, so. You and Cove continue to come up with family members, friends, professional relations, and the like to make an estimated size of the wedding. All while Baxter jotted down the information like an attentive student sitting at the front of a class. And of those who you most want and expect to be there, would any of them make up wedding parties, or is anyone a normal guest? I want a wedding party. We're thinking of having a wedding party. We hadn't really planned on something like that. I want a wedding party. Right, we hadn't picked exactly who'd be in it yet, but we are having a wedding party. Of course, let's discuss who's with who now then. It can be an equal split between the both of you, but it's not a rule. If one of you has a bigger wedding party than the other, it's completely fine. It's all about the two of you, so you can do as you please. Tepidly, Cove offered his first thoughts on the matter. I don't know, maybe it's embarrassing to even sort of dumb, but As great as my friends are, the person I'd want to be there as my best man is my dad. Aww, I'm so cute. It's not dumb at all. He's gonna be so happy to hear that. That's a perfect choice. You come a long way, Cove. You simply not understanding. Yeah, we could offer him $20 to do it. I'm not picking that. He'd be so happy to hear that. Having that close of a relationship with your father is a beautiful thing. Princess, do you know who will be the lead of your wedding party? And the title isn't important. Best man, best woman, or best person. I was best person. Maid, man, or individual of honor, it's all fine. Yeah. I could have been the individual of honor. That would have been so much better. But I went with best person. It's all fine. My mom, Pamela, my mom, Nolani, that's her name, Nolani. My sister, my cousin, my mother-in-law, my friend Derek, my friend Miranda, my friend Terry. It's gotta be Lee. It's gotta be Lee. I love Lee so much. As my maid of honor, best woman, person of honor, best person. She's my best woman. She's my best woman. Very well. Anyone else in the party? Well, I'm good with whichever friends and family come in my party, but I kind of want the size of things to be sort of close. Everybody would probably be in Princess's party if there wasn't more of a split, so it's okay that there'd probably be 3 or 4 in the parties at most. That makes sense. Oh, I wanted to make everyone else in my party. I don't want that many. Anyway, not an acceptance of Co's request. You just shrugged. I accept. Great. For your own party, you choose. I'm picking Terry. Terry's my next best thing. Well, Terry's not a thing. Terry's a person. My friend Terry. Liz. And I think that's it. Do I want Miranda? Yeah, and I want Miranda. I do want Miranda. I love Miranda, and that's everyone. And I'd use wedding attendants for the title, wedding crewmates for the title. Crewmates? What the fuck is a crewmate? Like, what is this for? This is for the wedding party, right? Why don't you just call them the wedding party? What is this? I guess this one? And my party's gonna be Derek, Kyra, and Nolani. You're picking my mom? You're picking that mom in particular? That's crazy. I hope mom's not gonna be upset that she wasn't picked for any of the wedding parties. Oh, that's so sad. And with that, you successfully mapped out the members of your wedding parties. Perfect, I'll make notes. The statement was made extra clear by the clicking noise of Baxter keenly tapping his pen on the armrest. On the topic of guests and that sort, are you open to attendees giving speeches during the reception? I would love that, actually. Yes, write me a speech. Tell me how much you love me. We can make it so only select people are arranged to say some words about the couple, or have a mic open for anyone interested in taking it, or discreetly circumvent anyone from gathering the attention in order to talk. You know what? I want to hear what everyone thinks. Give me all the speeches. I'm fine with anyone making a toast or giving a speech if they want. I'm okay with that too. People are gonna tease us whether it's in a speech or not. He's used to it. I'm so sorry that you're used to getting bullied. Go. You can't even catch a break. Good. You continued along casually, accepting all your input. And are you thinking of writing anything yourselves for custom vows? Just remember it's an option, not an obligation. There's no pressure to make a custom declaration if you're not comfortable with it. Oh. I had custom vows in my... Yes. I wanted to let Cove decide what he felt up for. You know what, Cove? Let's have some input. I think I want to write my own vows. I'm gonna be nervous either way, and there's a lot I could say. Ooh, I love this. Then that's what we'll do. Cove's eyes squinted up from his cheeks as he smiled at you so sweetly. Oh, you're so precious. You were feeling butterflies already, and the vows hadn't even been said. At my best friend's wedding. I don't know if they want me to share this, but I'm gonna share it anyway. They didn't finish writing their speech until the day of, but it made me tear up when they read it to me. I was like, I don't want to ruin my makeup. But then when the vows were actually happening, I was so, there's a picture of me and I just looked so, I look high. I was not high at all, but I looked like I was on drugs. Like, I looked like I was like out of my fucking mind. It was a lot happening that day. Lovely, just lovely. And that is highly personal, so you each can work on them privately, outside of our appointments. How many appointments do we need to have with you? Baxter relaxed back into his chair and looked you both over. His smile curved widely. It was a look that made curve. Oh my gosh. It was a look that made Cove nervous. You could feel him begin to fidget uncomfortably at your side. Let's talk a little more about traditions and wedding norms. Stop. We're all friends here, so I'll be frank. If one of you sincerely asks not to be splattered with cake, or for whatever reason else, and the other does exactly the opposite simply because they think it's funny, I will personally see to it that your marriage ends. Oh, love that. Love that. Have the annulment ready. If you can't treat your partner and their boundaries with respect on your wedding day, you don't deserve them as your spouse. Completely agree. Now, I sincerely doubt it's going to be a problem with you two, but it's an occupational hazard. With that said, do you have any requests pertaining to either the ceremony or the reception? We can arrange for anything special that you do want included. Well, I definitely don't want anything to happen with the cake. It should be for eating. True, 100% true. I like to do a proper cake cutting with Cove without all the mess. I'm gonna smash some cake. Cove can smear it on me too. No, we're not smashing the cake. Cove should, but I don't want to smash. Let's do a proper cake cutting.
Sure.
Yeah, we can do that. Cove crossed his arms with a prudent nod. The longer he chewed on the idea, the more his lips tugged into a bent smile. The cake is for eating. Do not fuck up my cake. I paid a whole bunch of money for that cake. Don't fuck up my dress. Don't fuck up my suit. Whatever I decide to wear for my wedding, I'm gonna be pissed. I would be pissed. I would 100% get an annulment. if my shit got fucked up, I would cry too. And that means you can focus on what's most important. Eating cake. Very well. That's 100% true, Cove. I believe that. Baxter clapped his... When is Cove's birthday? Did he say it was in September? What sign is September? August is... Leo... What's after Leo? I can never remember. Does it matter right now? No. But it matters to me. Baxter clapped his hands together, pleased with the direction of the conversation. That's another important detail done. We should discuss who you'd like to officiate the ceremony next.
I can do that.
I can arrange for a standard justice of the peace to be there, but if that's a pastor, minister, rabbi, judge, or anyone else you have in mind, please send me their contact information. Preferably right away. I can work things out with them, so we're all set for the ceremony. Unsure what to say, Cove glanced over to you. He scratched his cheek contemplatively. I do have a certified figure in mind that we could ask. Who? I don't know anybody I would ask to do that. I don't care. Me neither. He shrugged, glancing over at you to make sure. A simple gesture of the peace was all you needed. Exactly. Wonderful. I'll get you in the motion right away.
Very well.
Now, have either of you considered how you want to arrive for the ceremony? Will one of you come in first and the other come down the aisle, or perhaps you both want to enter together? I'd love to see Cove come down the aisle. Cove, would you want to walk together? Cove, what are you thinking? He closed his mouth, thinking over the question, his eyebrows pinched together as he imagined the various possibilities. Would you want to do it together? I'd love that. Great, cool. Exhaling his tension away, Cove closed his eyes. A weak laugh rattled through him. That's so cute, walking down the aisle together. I never considered that. I think I can handle the distance without my legs giving out from under me, especially if we're doing it together. You're so precious. Thank you for doing this with me. I'm so happy. No matter what, I promise everything's gonna be okay. I believe in you. You laugh at the idea of tripping. I tripped down the aisle at my best friend's wedding. I sure did, because it was on a hill. I had to go down the hill. and my dress was long. I didn't have time to get it tailored. It was a lot. Me? Princess, thank you for agreeing to all of this. He trembled with emotion, his gaze dropped away, avoiding yours. You reached over and gave his forearm a gentle squeeze. I want to do everything with you. I thought I was reading as Cove that time. Me too. Cove's face was a shade pinker than from that conversation, but he was pleased with what you both settled on. You were too. That sounds lovely. Baxter clicked his pen before dropping his attention to his paperwork. He glanced back up, giving you his full attention. Oh, and are you intending to exchange wedding bands? It is possible to skip that. No, we're exchanging wedding bands. Yeah, we've got rings. No, we don't have rings for that. Cove answered, explaining how you would exchange rings. Cove answered, explaining how you wouldn't. You know what, Cove? Why don't you speak? We were thinking that was gonna happen. We, already got rings for it. Did we? I would love to see it. Of course. We can easily set the moment for that in your ceremony. And a small reminder, couples generally take off engagement rings before the ceremony to wear just the wedding band during the wedding. Oh, I never knew that. Thanks. You couldn't help picturing the matching wedding bands you had gotten together. They were gold, rose gold, silver, platinum, black. They were platinum. And because our engagement ring is silver. A round band, a jeweled band, a V-shaped band. A V-shaped band with jewels. I don't know how I feel about a V-shaped band. You know what? Let's get a regular jeweled one. The stones you both decided on were white diamonds, white diamonds. I want sapphires. Sapphires. They were incredible, but before you completely lost focus, Baxter spoke up again. So, do either of you want to have a bouquet? Girl, no. No thanks. A small chuckle fell from Cove's lopsided grin, but Baxter was serious and waited attentively. When Cove realized that, he shrugged. I like flowers, but I don't need a whole bouquet. Oh! Yeah. You know what? Don't be shy. You can have one, Cove. Seriously? 100%. I don't want a bouquet, but you can have a bouquet. The word punched out of him in a stuttering laugh. Oh, he's so cute. The longer you held him under your stare, the more Cove's eyes widened in surprise in his eyes. I keep thinking about his eyes. His cheeks quickly burned a deep red. You more than like flowers into your wedding. It was alright to indulge for the day. He scratched the back of his neck awkwardly. You could tell that his resolve was crumbling. I guess I could have one. Excellent. Let's talk about what it'll look like then. Yeah. Would you mind if I had white poppies? Oh. No, it needs those. Since the instant Baxter brought up flowers, you have been positive Cove was going to ask for those. Are there any others that you'd want highlighted? Ooh, we should get orchids too. Because he likes the white poppies and I like orchids. White poppies and orchids. That's quite a combo, just like the two of you. I don't know, what do orchids look like? Like, I know what orchids look like, but like, what do they look like with white poppies is what I want to know. I'm looking it up right now, sorry. What would that look like together? Ooh. I think I like it. Some big ass flowers. Those have always been our favorite flowers since we were kids. And now you're bringing that to your wedding together. Ah, the epitome of romance. Bashful Cove averted his eyes. With that decided, Baxter picked his pen up again and took note of your specifications. He subtly nodded as he wrote. Well, since you're having that means you have the option of a bouquet toss during the reception. Yes, let's do a bouquet toss. Huh? That sounds kind of fun. What do you think, princess? Girl, have it, live it up. Live it up, baby girl. Yeah, if you want to do it, we can have one. Definitely, we've got to, affirmatively. Honestly, I'd rather keep the bouquet instead of throwing it. Yeah, if you want to do it, we can have one. The longer you thought about it, the more fun the idea became. Cove's grin curled excitedly. Are we gonna do that whole garter belt thing? Because I don't want to do that. Baxter's gaze lifted from his notes. Marvelous. That's about all the details, the basics sorted out, but we still have time to talk about the ceremony itself. There's vows, but from there you can personalize it with more rituals and such. If there's any particular tradition... Why did I stutter over that word? If there's any particular tradition that you'd like to have, you're welcome to let me know. I don't have things I need, and it's not very traditional. I'm not very traditional. I just wanted it to be whatever Princess hopes for, and that's so sweet. Princess. I just want to keep the ceremony simple. Ew. What is this? I've never heard of a sand pouring ritual. Can we have a hand fasting? What are these rituals? Breaking glass. I know that's in like the Jewish culture, right? What is a blanket ceremony? I want to have a floral garland exchange. What are these things? Oh, can there be confetti tossing when we leave? Yeah, let's do the confetti tossing. That sounds fun. He tapped his pen on the table twice. I know the perfect place to get some. It's biodegradable and very nice. That's awesome. Yes, thank you. Anything else? That's it. Let's see it. Consent with your wishes. Cove nodded agreeingly. Very well, so that's the ceremony. Now, any reception venue you choose will be large enough to have room for casual dancing throughout the evening, but I need to know if we should schedule for any particular kinds of dancing. Well, we need to have a first dance, such as a first dance between you and Cove as a start. For example, we're on the same page here. We're on the same page here, Baxter. Both of you turned to each other curiously. A deep red crept across his cheeks when he felt overwhelmed. Cove's gaze dropped to the floor. Sir, why is he so shy? He's so cute. Well, only if you're good with it. I want to have a first dance, of course. Of course, darling. I want to have a first dance with you too. Cove perked up at your answer. Despite still being nervous, he gave an eager shimmy in his seat. Oh, you baby. You beamed, overjoyed with the idea of your first dance together as a married couple. It would be nice if we had dances with our own parents. It would be sweet if we had songs where we dance with each other's parents. That's cute. I want to play a money dance. What's a money dance? We should have a dance with our parents and a money dance too. What does that mean? What is the money dance? We should have a dance with each other's parents and a money dance. What is a money dance? I have to look this up. Because I'm going to be like, what does that mean? Money dance wedding. A band plays upbeat polka music and the bride starts the apron tradition of dancing with her father as guests dance in a circle around them. Oh. This is a Filipino custom. Well, the only person who's Filipino is Liz, and this ain't her wedding, so. This ain't her wedding. It's my wedding. I don't need to do a money dance. You were looking forward to that moment with Cove. It'd be cute if we danced with each other's parents. I think that would be cute. Part of you could already imagine your mom's delight taking turns twirling Cove around the dance floor, but that wasn't your only reason for suggesting it. You'd love to have a special moment with Cove's parents yourself. It was significant that they both welcomed you with open arms. They've been kind, stable figures for so much of your life now. You want to honor that. A rosy blush dusted his cheeks a deeper pink. I mean, especially since my mom's at his wedding party. Like, that's crazy. You don't got other friends? Is it because I stole Miranda and Terry? Is that it? A parent dance. That'd be great, actually. Then, it's settled. Baxter continued to keep track of details by jotting it down on paper. He kept up with the pace of the conversation with words and writing easily. Oh, and speaking of ceremony and reception, that's my area of expertise. If you're going on a honeymoon afterwards, that'll be something I'd recommend perhaps a travel agent for, or honestly, arranging between only you two without any middleman. Ooh. Cove didn't blink at the caveat. We'll handle that. While we're here, it's just about the day. I get it. Fantastic. Now, back to the wedding. Do you have a sense of style you're aiming for? Is it formal or casual? You have a particular color you want the wedding party to wear? Are the clothes for the couple meant to be surprised for the ceremony, or would you prefer picking that out together? I'm not sure. And also, what about hair? I can brush my hair out so it can be fancier, though that's not important. I can keep it the same. No, I love this. I love your hair. A good question. What are you thinking, Princess? You consider the series of inquiries and respond by saying, we could do something between formal and casual. I can go whatever level of formality. Let's do formal and casual. Oh, look at his little teeth. He always looks like a bunny to me when he does that. Yeah, cool. And doesn't matter to me what the wedding party wears. It matters to me. The main color was blue. It's blue. It's blue. Sounds good. I'll be wearing white, obviously. Maybe black and white. Who's to say? Also, I'd love to surprise you with my outfit during the wedding. I'd feel a lot better if we help each other get outfits together. I don't care if the clothes are a secret or not. I don't care. If it's not a big deal either way, could we have it be a surprise? I think that'd be kind of nice. Okay, sure. That's definitely fine, Cove. Thanks. I would like yours more of a full suit set, though. I'd like if your outfit was kind of simple. You were sure Cove would look great no matter. I want a full suit set. I think that would be so good. Like, okay. Jacket, vest, tie, corsage. Jacket, vest, tie, jacket, vest, corsage, jacket. No jacket this time. Vest, tie, corsage, jacket, tie, corsage. Yeah. I can manage that for one day, no problem. What about colors? How about red for the shirt? Green, what about blue for the shirt? Purple, pink, white shirt, please. You know what? You pick the shirt color. And the pants should be whatever you want, baby girl. For the jacket, your choice. I want to be surprised. And Cove, it'd be wonderful to see you with a fancier hairstyle. I think your normal hairstyle is perfect. Do whatever you want with your. I think your normal hairstyle is perfect. I love this on you. Okay, I'll keep it just like this. Excellent work. I know this has been a lot of Q&A. There was much to consider for this big of event. Then Baxter's pen was placed back in his pocket and how long he had it come from. He ran his now free hands through his smooth inside edges of his jacket. That's a nice jacket. Where did you get that? I want one. Thank you two for being so forthcoming. I've got a strong idea of where this is going now. Good. I'm already looking forward to the next meeting when we can truly get specificities. Oh? That's everything? We're leaving? Yes, you can go. Or you can stay if you want. That's the end of the actual session. But I'm not throwing you out. That's alright. Bye. Okay, Cove. What if I wanted to catch up with Baxter? Cove awkwardly waved Baxter off despite still being seated and not going anywhere yet. He had gotten so into discussion of the wedding, he forgot his usual stiffness around Baxter for a time. You were having such a fun time on that yacht. I don't know what your problem is right now. But that spell broke. Baxter accepted the answer and pushed off the armrest of his chair to stand up straight. You and Cole followed his motion, getting up out of your own seats together. Is it because I never asked for his number? That's probably what it is. The wedding planner took one stride closer to the center of the room and reached out his hand towards you. You shook it, you gave him a friendly nudge of the arm instead, you offered a fist bump, you shook your head politely, you opened your arms for a hug. I'm gonna shake his hand, I'm not gonna be weird. He grinned while giving your hand one satisfying shake. Bye, it's great that you're Baxter. That's a terrible joke, I'm not saying that. I'm expecting special treatment since we're such great friends. Don't work too hard, you wave goodbye. Goodbye for today, princess. I'm glad to have seen you. It's been nice. It's been nice, Baxter. Then he offered the same gesture to Cove. Your partner accepted it casually, giving Baxter's hand a solid shake. Take care, Baxter. Thanks, same to you. You've got a wedding to be ready for. Don't forget to look out for yourself and your fiancé. I'll remember. The two men released each other's hand, settling the agreement to take this chance and put a new foot forward in their relationship. With that, the two of you found your way out of the office building. The pop and the subsequent click from the opening and closing of car doors played out in sync between you and Cove. As you buckled in for the car ride back, Cove commented on the experience. The question was hesitant and had an upward bend that made it sound like a question. So that went well? Before you could respond to a not exactly a question statement, Cove continued on with a new actual question. I mean, we got Baxter Ward as our planner somehow, but he seems good at what he does, right? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I've never seen him plan anything. He put his hands on the wheel and peeked at you through the reflection in the overhead mirror. I see we have downgraded. We have this small ass car. What if I wanted the sunroof? Right. Baxter will do wonderfully. I hope he doesn't suggest a monochrome color scheme. He absolutely the guy for the job. I don't know, as long as he's grown up hitting on both of us. Was he hitting on us? Okay, he definitely was hitting on us. Okay. Right, Baxter will do wonderfully. You're right. Cove had pulled out of the parking lot as he spoke. The wheels rumbled easily down the newly developed city streets of the area. But that was the end of Cove's attempt at conversation making. He went entirely quiet. The pensive look on his face didn't allow you to relax into a normal, comfortable silence. Cove, are you okay? His mood easily lifted back up at the sound of his name. I'm forgetting all the Baxter stuff. I'm just really happy we're doing this. Sometimes I still can't believe we're together. We're engaged, and soon we're gonna be married. It's incredible, and it never stops feeling like this. I don't think I'll ever be used to it. Not really. I love you. I feel the same way about it. It's like living an incredible dream. You put your hand on his shoulder, you're relieved he was okay and settled in. It's like living an incredible dream. His cheeks squished at his eyes from the size of his grin. Nothing could stop him from coming forward to the upcoming occasion. Finally, the lack of words felt right between the two of you. You took the chance to let the day sink in as best you could. After all the years you'd known Cove, you were now going to have a wedding with him. The scenery slipped by faster than your eyes could keep up with as you got further and further into your own thoughts. Then suddenly the day had ended and you were drifting off to sleep in Cove's arms. It was early afternoon when you stepped outside, breathing in the good weather. The gentle breeze warmed your skin while you waited for Cove. He wasn't far behind, but there was still a serene moment to watch the puffy white clouds move across the sky. I was going to say across the wedding. Why? You were grateful for that because the second you both hopped into Cove's car, your brain was filled to the brim with wedding planning once again. Before you could progress any further, you needed to cross one of the most important details off the list, officially putting the wedding party together. This was the goal for today. Despite the nervous energy fluttering in your stomach, you were already anticipating the stops and phone calls planned. Pecking over at Cove, you hoped he was too. Are you okay? Are you the sunglasses? I forgot I put them on him. Are you doing alright, princess? I have high hopes for today, and that's scary, but otherwise, I'm okay. What about you? Cove turned away while his eyebrows pinched together. His grip on the steering wheel tightened briefly before he made himself relax the stiffness in his pose. Tense, but good. Better than good. Really, I'm excited. Me too. Every time you imagine the conversations you'd have today, they all boiled down to the same feeling. Joy. The people you picked were all important figures in your lives, and you just couldn't wait to see how they'd take the news. Cove nodded and added a happy hum in response. And with that, you were on the road home. Naturally, Cove navigated the car towards the old neighborhood. It was soothing, winding down the familiar paths of your childhood. You spent so many years expanding your world, little by little, on foot, and then by car. The older you grew, the further you went, but there was always a place back there for you. Cove parked along the upper end of the street. Side by side, you headed out, aiming for his dad's condo. Oh, that's where we're going first? Okay. Your first visit for the day. Cove wanted to ask your father to be his best man, and you'd be there for him. Cove's newly outstretched hand was halfway to the doorknob when he paused uncharacteristically. Actually, I'm gonna knock. I think he'll just be happy to see you no matter what. The warmth intensified in Cove's expression. His hand changed directions and he gave the door 2 firm knocks. It didn't take Mr. Holden long to answer the door. His initial shock quickly melted into a cheery grin. Hey, come in, come in. His attention bounced back and forth between you and Cove as he moved aside to let you stroll in. Hey, Dad. How are you?
Great.
Great, sport. Cool. Cove stalled bashfully, staring down at his feet and rubbing the back of his neck. You knew just how important this was to him. He took a deep breath and didn't wilt under his dad's growing concern. Princess and I were talking... Wait, hold on, no. Wrong place. So, Princess and I were talking about the wedding, and I realized that I needed to ask you about something. I'm all ears, son. Whatever you need, I'm your guy. Cove swallowed nervously and nodded, then the corners of his mouth started to perk up. I was wondering if you might be alright being my best man in the wedding party. Mr. Holden slammed a hand on his chest. He's so fucking dramatic. Clutching his heart, you waited for any kind of sign of life. A part of you wasn't even sure if he was breathing until he finally gasped in a lungful of air. Cove, you don't have to do that. Cove's brow bent up, but his delicate smile grew wider. Nobody's forcing me. This is what I want. Dad, you've always supported me. Though, through the good and the bad. For my whole life, you've taken care of me. His expression was earnest as he stepped forward. Your chest swelled with pride listening to Cove's honest plea. Why would I want somebody else to be my best man? Completely touched, Mr. Holden grasped his son by the shoulders and then wrapped him in a hug. Cove embraced him just as tightly and rested a cheek on his dad. There's nothing in the world that would stop me from being there for my boy. Thanks, Dad. Stifling, Cove's voice came out softly and laden with emotion. With teary eyes, Cliff invitingly reached an arm out to you. You joined them? Sure, I'll join in. That simple invitation instantly had your vision clouded with tears. The Holdens felt like family to you, and right now it really settled in how much all of you were now, without a question, family. Inching forward, you let yourself be pulled into their loving embrace. You clung onto them both. Finally, Cliff pulled back, letting his shaking form settle again. Well, I'm sure you're both busy, so I won't keep you. Mr. Holden crossed his arms. Despite the misty eyes, he beamed, taking in the sight of you and Cove. But I really appreciate you both coming by. And I'm around if either of you ever need anything. Jesus Christ, can I read, please? Thanks. And yeah, we need to invite the rest of the wedding party before we see the wedding planner later. You were our first stop today. I was gonna say shot. Mr. Holden managed to brighten even more hearing that. Cove shyly nodded and rubbed his arm. Very good. You're being so responsible. I won't hold you up on your way. Thanks. Again. I guess we're on to the next stop? You glanced over at Cove, he nodded surely, and you felt a calming surge of confidence. Have fun spreading the good news. We will. Bye, Dad. See you soon. The sun was warm on your skin as you left Mr. Holden's house. Stretching your arms overhead, you pivoted to Cove, feeling refreshed. Ready? Yep, let's go. You moved your attention to your mom's place right in front of you both. You pointed at the house. We're already here. Stepping up to the condo, you rang the doorbell and waited. The longer you stood there, the stranger you felt. Because this still felt like your own door, the expression on your face pinched together oddly, but it was short-lived as your ma swung the door open and validated your thoughts. Hello! Oh, sweeties, welcome home. She eagerly ushered you both inside towards the living room. Ma then went over to the hall and cupped her hand to the side of her mouth to be heard in the other room. Pam, come see our guests. Mom curiously peeked out of the bedroom door. When she realized who it was, she beamed and gave you a little wave. Hey, kiddos. Hi. Hi, I missed you both. Your mom's expression softened. Mom joined you all in the living room, standing alongside Ma. What can we do for you today? We've been working on some wedding preparations, and we were hoping to include you in that. I wonder what that could mean. Ma raised an amused eyebrow and then turned to Mom. Shyly, Cove glanced at you, wordlessly asking you to take the lead here. Ma, would you want to be a part of our wedding party? Cove and I were hoping that you would be a groomswoman for Cove. A soft smile tugged at Ma's lips as she processed what you asked. Her eyes fell on you and suddenly asked if you were sure. You nodded and she was overjoyed. You want me as a groomswoman? I will be. You're marrying my wonderful child, and all I want is to be there for that very special day. A small relieved sigh took away from the remaining worries twisting in your gut. That went even better than you thought it would. Everything was so much sweeter knowing that your moms were thoroughly enjoying this. Spying on Cove over the corner of your eye, you caught the fondness he exuded watching you in return. He seemed as pleased with your mom's reactions. Even though you didn't extend a wedding party invitation to Mom, she didn't show a single sign of being upset. You were sure that she didn't want to sour the day over something like that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting him to invite Ma. For a fact, you knew that Mom was happy for you and Cove, and that she would be your and Cove's biggest cheerleader every step of the way to the altar. Okay, well, we'll let the two of you go about with the rest of your planning. Thank you so much for surprising us with this. Ma brushed back her hair, observing you both affectionately. Mom nodded in agreement. You've got a lot to do, but I'm sure you'll be able to hack it. Oh, we will. Just prepare yourselves for the best wedding you've ever seen. We're waiting for it, right, Lonnie? Yes, we're expecting nothing but great things. Thank you two. We'll see you soon. Yeah, we appreciate it so much. The tips of Cove's ears were red, but he did his best to be unruffled under your mom's stares. He nodded with a warm smile. Bye. Goodbye. See you around. After that, your moms walked you to the door. You and Cove stepped out into the neighborhood, ready to tackle the next task on your to-do list. And with that, we're going to tackle this ending, is what we're doing. So, prepare. I thought tomorrow, I want to finish this game tomorrow. So, instead of playing Animal Crossing in the morning like I usually do, we're gonna start with this game. And we're gonna finish this game. We're finishing this game tomorrow. Because April, we're playing a new game. And now it's gonna be a fun time. So look forward to it. Speaking of, I don't feel like reading, so we're not going to. I'm just gonna say, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for being beautiful. I appreciate it. Again, so no Animal Crossing in tomorrow. Actually, we might do Animal Crossing tomorrow. It depends on when we finish this game. Stream, it will be tomorrow at 12:10, 12:15 because I have therapy at 11. So, yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all the announcements that I have. Again, thank you guys so much for being here. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Thank you. And bye.